Taps it onto the toe and goes round the outside. Tom Whiteley. Brilliant. Benter goes right through the middle, 3 options either side, but it's Don Morris.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the StoneX Stadium as the Trailfinders Challenge Cup continues. There are just 2 competition rounds remaining in this pre-season competition, but then we have the big one coming up. It's on the horizon now. The championship is here and the fixtures were confirmed this week, and it was also confirmed that there will be a team that climbs up into the Premiership to make a 13-team league next season. Everyone around these parts will be hoping that that team will be Saracens, but it's not that easy, is it? Ealing managed to beat them in the first 2 rounds, and now Doncaster are here to test them again. It's going to be a mightily important match for both clubs in the context of the championship season to come. Well, building up to it, I have Jackson Ray and Charlie Foley from both clubs. Chaps, thank you very much for joining. How are you doing? You okay?
Very well, thanks. Good to be here.
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, it is mightily cold, isn't it? So we're going to try and keep this brief and try and, if we can, keep ourselves active as well. But Jackson, first question for you this week. The Premiership news, the fact that a side can climb up into the Championship. How good was that for the club? Was that talked about?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, most of us have just been looking forward to playing. We've always been confident that the Championship will go ahead at some stage, and we've been trying to focus on that. And obviously promotion is a big part of that for sure. But most of us just wanted to get out and play and compete. In the Championship, we waited a long time to do it. So we're good to see that we're not too far away.
And we're still waiting a little bit to see you. But when might we see you back?
Next week.
Next week.
Yeah, I'm had enough training now. Had enough wearing a bib. And holding a tackle shield. I need to get back out there. So I'll be back next week hopefully, and we can get into it.
Okay, well let's have a look at the table for the Trailfinders Challenge Cup. And Charlie, Doncaster can still win the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, 2 5-point wins, and it would be yours. So is that something that's on the horizon at the club as well, or?
Probably not the main aim at the minute. Not what we've been focusing on. We're aware of the opposition we have to play the next 2 weeks. Both top quality sides, and obviously travelling to both their grounds would be difficult. For us, the main focus is still the build up to the Championship season. 2 wins would be fantastic, but I think it's more about how we perform in those games in the build up to the start of the season. And
you played in the first match, you're not available to play in this one. 11 new faces in this side that are new to the club. How easy is it putting that many players together?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. But yeah, no, it has been a whole fresh start at the club. We sort of almost started again, so to speak. I think it was 12 or 13 new players last week, and then the same again this week. So, yeah, looking forward to see how the guys go as we build towards the season.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much. We'll be hearing from the boys throughout the course of the day. But now we're just going to have the first play out of the adverts, the brilliant sponsors who are able to help us put these streams on.
Timing is everything. It's taking the opportunity. It's executing the right trade. It's relying on our award-winning platform. It's trusting our 37-year heritage. Timing is everything. It's your advantage. Spread betting and CFD trading on over 12,000 global markets. City Index, your advantage.
A really good sleep doesn't just happen overnight. It takes 40 years of expertise. It takes 7 layers of body-supporting technology and up to 5,000 patented titanium aerocoil springs that move air freely around you for a cool, deep, sound sleep.
Yeah, I got the money in the bank like jumps on the begin again like jump on the bomb on the bunker of luck. Bitch on the get them on man. Sit down on one when the boom man. Tap down but on bomb with the boom black.
Yeah, I think my favourite comeback was the Loughborough game, I'd say.
I think mine was Quins.
Why?
Mine was because of what the game meant.
The first try that we got that catalyst. I don't think at any point I was properly worrying, thinking, oh God, we're going to lose this, which is ridiculous when you're 20 points down.
What about Alex's speech at half-time?
The silence in that room after he stopped, that was insane.
What about your favourite social?
There's only one to talk about, yeah.
Final.
It's the final.
Yeah. What one?
Yeah, which final?
Oh, I wasn't at the first one.
Oh.
one of those moments you were both at.
Did we break the trophy again?
Many times.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
Find your escape. Find your surprise. Find your adventure. Find your exotic. Find your freedom. Find your wild side. Find yourself.
Trust Trailfinders, guaranteeing your travel since 1970.
So from those sponsors backing the tournament to those who have their name on the tin here at Saracens, and you may have noticed that Saracens earlier this year announced their new lead partner would be City Index and StoneX, both part of the StoneX group, and we will now hear from Giles Watts, the Regional Business Director at City Index, who is responsible for commercial operations in the UK and Europe.
The staff at City Index and StoneX are super excited about this opportunity and this partnership. We were fortunate enough to be able to announce to the wider group just after Christmas, and it was a great way to start the new year, and one that has already seen super engagement on our side and real excitement about the future ahead. I think in terms of the timing, the City Index now recently has become part of a larger parent group, which is StoneX. And our intention is to continue to expand our reach and presence, both in terms of our customer awareness and the product set that comes with it. So an opportunity to align with one of the most successful rugby clubs in the country presents us with an enviable opportunity to grow that awareness through rugby and through the mediums by which it's consumed. The alignment, I think, is both in terms of values and also ambition. So we recognise that Saracens is on a journey back to the heights of their recent successes, and we can resonate with that as a firm as we continue on our journey to continue to improve our product and strive to be the best in terms of what we can deliver for our clients. We see that there is much alignment between those core values that Saracens hold dear and those key attributes that are required to be a successful trader, whether that be around the discipline, the work rates, the devil's in the details, whether that's on the rugby pitch or whether that's about your trading strategy. So yeah, absolutely, there's alignment both in terms of ambition and in terms of values, and that I think is an exciting one. City Index is a CFD and spread betting provider that's been operating for over 35 years. And we offer clients the opportunity to access financial markets through a leverage trading product known as a CFD or spread bet. We actually started out servicing clients over the phone in the mid-80s, and the business has evolved over the years to now really essentially be a technology firm that provides clients with access to the global financial markets via our online platforms. We're now part of a much larger parent group which connects international clients globally through institutional platforms, clearing and execution. The City Index clients have the opportunity to trade on thousands of financial markets, including major global indices, currency pairs, commodities such as gold and silver, as well as thousands of listed shares both in the UK and the US. And we deliver this to our clients through our proprietary platforms, whether that be on a mobile phone or online through the web, and in some cases on downloadable on their computer. The City Index customer base is predominantly UK based, and we have a broad spectrum of clients that trade hundreds of different markets every day. And some of our clients use the product as a major part of their investment portfolio, trading across these multi-asset classes, while other clients may use the product just as a complement to existing investments or savings. But equally, we have many clients who just use the product to take advantage of short-term opportunities, whether that's related to an individual share or a currency or commodity. And it's fair to say that most of our popular products are, in many cases, household names, whether that's a global industry or a big stock like Apple or Tesla, or people that are looking at trading gold and silver, particularly when geopolitical events or economic events present opportunity to those.
Now, this year being the 150th anniversary of the RFU, we have borrowed a video courtesy of England Rugby, and it charts some of the amazing moments that have happened to rugby in this country over the course of that history. Well, as we all know, to stand still is to stagnate, and on a day as bitterly cold as this, it's very important not to do that. So we are innovating here at Saracens TV, and we have what we believe to be one of the first times ever we're doing a live broadcast of a re-signing of a Saracens player. So here we go, we're about to find out who this week has re-signed at the club. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I'm super excited. You know, it is a great club, and it's where I've been for the last 10 years now, and I'm super excited for the future of what this club can do. And you know, next season's obviously going to be tough in the Championship still. We've got to get ourselves out of that, and fingers crossed. You know, and like I said, this team's got bags of potential, and I'm really excited for the future. the big part of staying at this place is obviously the culture and the relationships that you build over the years, and it's a place I call home, you know, and I love the guys here. I love the coaching staff, the background staff, you know, they've all been amazing for me, and you know, I owe a lot to them, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to stay on at the club. You know, and like I said, it's super exciting what this group's got as far as potential is concerned, and I'm really excited for the future with them, and you know, I feel like I can still contribute in some way, shape or form going forward.
Yes, it is Scotland international Duncan Taylor who has re-signed at Saracens to keep him at the club until the end of the 2022 season, and everyone around here will be looking at that as representing very good news indeed. Jackson Ray, yourself as well?
Yes, no, Duncan's been a massive part of the club for the last, you know, however, probably 8 to 10 years, to be honest. Been here a long time. Growing up with him, so it's brilliant to see him stay for another 2 years. Brilliant player, great character around the place. And you know, he's going to contribute massively over the next couple of years, so great to see.
Well, he's in the starting lineup today, of course, promoted from the bench, and so too the likes of Ali Crossdale. But I wanted to ask you particularly what your impression of young Andy Christie is at number 8. Yeah,
Andy's done very well. Obviously, he had a few niggles during this pre-season, and you know, missed a couple of games during this period. But yeah, Andy's very much looking forward to his opportunity. I know he's trained well this week. You know, very energetic, gets around, gets off the floor quickly. So I think we'll see him a lot today. And hopefully bring a lot of energy to our forward pack and to the efforts with and without the ball today.
Doncaster's selection in the midfield as well is interesting. 2 newish faces, James New and Harry Strong. How would you pair those up together? What can we expect from them?
Yeah, both new to the club this season. Both very adept runners with the ball in hand. So hopefully we can generate a bit of space and we can see them have a go.
Doncaster's style over the years has always been quite expansive, and I was hearing in the week that Nathan Smith was saying they want to be able to play different types of game plans. I mean, has that been talked about in the week, or are you still looking just to get practice and looking to play and let everyone show what they can do?
I think it's a bit of both. Obviously, pre-season games is a chance for guys to put their hand up for selection before the start of the season. But yeah, we want to have the ability to win games in different ways. We know a lot of the teams in the Champ pose different threats, and we have to be able to deal with those as and when on the day. As for today, I think we have our sort of like critical outcomes that we've spoken about this week. So the main focus for us will be sort of like dealing with those and ticking those off one at a time. And if we do that, then the result will hopefully look after itself.
An example of one of those critical outcomes would be?
Well, I don't want to give away too much. Just more sort of a focus on the things that we control. So the quality of the lines we run, for instance, sort of the width and depth, our edge alignment when we do create chances, and then once we do create them, taking them.
Brilliant. Well, Charlie and Jackson, thank you very much. Heard from both the boys. Now we're going to hear from both the coaches, and we're going to start with Steve Bowden. Steve, ahead of your first match in the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, you said you were taking a pre-season approach to the Ealing match. Is that still the case today at the StoneX?
Yeah, no, it's. I think we're viewing this as a pre-season competition for us. We've got a lot of changes at the club. We made 12 or 13 changes from the Ealing game. Our job is to got a really young squad, and it's to get them rugby ready for the 6th of March, and obviously get an opportunity to put the hand up and for that side on the 6th of March. So that's the idea of it.
What did you take home from the first match in the competition 2 weeks ago?
I thought our intent physically was good, to say that we've not really done anything. We still haven't done that much. We can't, because we've got a small squad. So our intent against a very big, organised Ealing side, I thought was very good physically. And then we just got to look at, we were just a bit, probably some of it was a bit of over intent, we're a little bit eager, I think, which was, like I said to the boys, I prefer to be pulling them out of a fight than pushing them into it. So, there's some good signs in that respect. Then we just made a lot of errors that we'd expect for not playing any games of rugby. Like, we didn't look after the ball very well. Our aerial battle wasn't very good, and that was going to be a big test for us today.
I guess that'll be another test today. But what else are you expecting from Saracens?
Like I said, I think that we know that the kick game is extremely strong, and we're expected to be tested in those areas. And then physically, like I said, they're very similar to Ealing. That if you let them in your third, then they've got very powerful carriers, and eventually, the dam burst. So we've got to try and try and make sure that we're as far away from our try line as possible. So if that means we've got to play a bit more of a kicking game, that's what we might have to do.
Very good dodge that, by the way. I hope you have good luck today on the pitch.
Cheers, thank you.
Well, Mark, let's start off with a bit of business conducted just earlier this afternoon. Duncan Taylor re-signing for the club, going into his 10th year. How much of an impact, how much of a boost actually has that been for you this week?
Well, obviously we're thrilled that Duncan's time at the club is going to be extended. Duncan's been central to a lot of things that we've achieved over the time he's been here. Brilliant on the field for us, involved in a lot of our big games down the years, but off the field he's one of the most popular people at the club, and everyone's delighted he's going to be here for longer.
And you've picked him to start as well, and maybe he'll get back in the Scotland squad sometime soon.
Yeah, I think, just talking to Gregor Townsend during the week, he was very close to selection this weekend, and Duncan just needs some game time. But Duncan's one of those guys who wants to play for the club all the time, regardless of that, and he wants to roll his sleeves up today, and we're delighted to have him.
Well, to today, and rewind a week though, and there was a bit of disappointment after the Ealing loss. What have you been doing this week to make sure that Saracens don't lose 3 in a row?
Yeah, listen, the truth is our basics and our fundamentals last weekend were nowhere near good enough, and the focus really is on that. We want our scrum and our maul and our defence to be much better today than they were, and then we want to have enthusiasm and energy with that. So fingers crossed our basics can be a lot better today.
Looking at Doncaster, they have only had one game in the last 10 months, so little to go off, but what do you expect from them?
Yeah, we've only got the evidence of how they played against Ealing the last time, and they've got an incredibly enthusiastic young bunch of players who are desperate to do well, and what we know we're going to get is they're going to bring it to us today, and we've got to be ready to bring it to them as well.
Okay, well, best of luck today. Hope it goes well.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Cheers. Welcome to the Stonex Stadium, everybody. The preamble is almost done. Both sets of teams just making their final preparations for the penultimate rounds in the Trailfinders Challenge Cup. Saracens against Doncaster Knights, a game of import for both teams in terms of this competition, with Doncaster still being able to win the competition. Let's not forget that. And also kick-starting Saracens this season, but also kick-starting a new era at Doncaster Knights after Steve Bowden joined them in the summer. But amongst all that, there is also a bit of history. It's the first time these two teams have met each other in competition. Doncaster having met almost every team who has been a Premiership name of recent years, let's say. Leicester and Bath still remain, but they have got Saracens under their belt with this one. Well, we'll have a little bit of time to see what other action is taking place across the course of the next 3 or 4 months, with Saracens Championship matches all on Saracens TV, and round 1 kicks off. It's a tough one, isn't it? Down at the Monet, Cornish Pirates, then it's the Jersey Reds. Early bye round for Saracens actually, and then Richmond's, the likes of Bedford Blues, and then that 17th of April is one to circle. Doncaster Knights up at Castle Park, the fixture which almost happened 2 weeks ago but had to be cancelled in part due to COVID-19 and also injuries and suspensions on Saracens' part, and that's why, of course, Saracens aren't able to be challenging in the Trailfinders Challenge Cup for victory. And then things round off. It's June time where Saracens will be looking to peak, as they always do around that time of year. 12th and the 19th of June, 2-part playoff to qualify to get back into the Premiership, or for another team in the Championship to get into the Premiership for the first time. We will see. In terms of matches coming up more immediately though, tomorrow, 2 p.m, it is Saracens women against Gloucester Hartpury, and that will be on Saracens TV again, in the company of Dave Rogers for that one. So do mark your cards if you're keeping up with Saracens women this season, and they are playing some great footy out on the Stonex Stadium. Then be sure to tune in for that one. Let's have a look at the teams now today, and Saracens up first. 5 new faces in the team, which lost to Ealing 7 days ago. 3 of them are in the backs, 2 in the forwards. Ali Crossdale is coming in on the right wing, someone who has been in Eddie Jones's shadow training squad for England. Duncan Taylor, newly signed, a 2-year contract, has slotted straight into the inside centre channel, and possibly, who knows, according to Mark McCall and conversations with Gregor Townsend, playing for Scotland before long. But he is here to partner Dom Morris, and Manu Vunipola returns from his Barbarians suspension in replace of Tom Whiteley at fly half. Alan Davis retains his place at number 9, and Andy Christie, who performed so well at Ealing Trailfinders in the first match of the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, he is at number 8, alongside Callum Hunter-Hill, who's shunted from the second row into the back row, and Michael Rhodes, number cap 101 for the big South African. Joel Kapoku, Tim Swinson also back after a Barbarians ban. Vincent Koch, Tom Wollstonecroft and Richard Barrington make up a formidable front three. From Doncaster's side, there are 11 faces who have chalked up at Castle Park over the summer, who are being given a run in this one. And starting from the back with Kane, the Australian who has come over from Sydney University. Howard Packman is on the left wing, a first chance for us to see him this season, and Aaron Reid on the right wing on loan from Sale Sharks. Then we have Newey and Harry Strong in the centres. That's centre pairing, which will be casting a very critical, in a good way, eye over with in the company of Charlie Foley across the course of this match. Billy McBride, son of Robin McBride no less, at fly half. He's been given the keys instead of Sam Olver this afternoon. Gus Waugh also on loan from Sale Sharks. He's at number 9. And then it's Jack Davies, Kelly and Jack Rouse who make up the back row. Chances all in a starting capacity for those three in the back row. Will Britton and Jerry Sexton, brother of Johnny Sexton, in the second row. And then it is some familiar faces from 2 weeks ago with Joe Jones, Ben Hunter, but a new face back in the starting lineup, and Doncaster fans will be delighted to see him. Bomber Hislop is taking up arms at Loosehead. So the Impact players from the bench, as always with a Saracens 23, there is a lot of talent there, isn't there? Capelli, Piffoletti, who we've seen in action and off the bench to useful purposes in the recent matches. Ironi Mawi, Josh Ibuanokpe, Ollie Stonham, Toby Knight, Tom Whiteley, Harry Sloan and Will Hooley. And for Doncaster Knights as well, Conrad Cade, George Roberts, Andrew Foster, Matt Challoner, club captain Connor Joyce, Rhys Cullen, Mark Best and Sam Olver. So a chance before we kick off just to remind you that if you want to engage with the stream, if you want to let us know where you're watching from, what you think of it, then please do. The hashtag is SarVDon, and you can let us know if you have any questions on Twitter, and we will put them to Charlie Foley and Jackson Ray. So that will be we'll get through those at half time, and do join us in that debate if you can. A reminder really of the fixtures that are coming up. That 20th of February contest, Ealing Trailfinders against Doncaster Knights, which could be the deciding match in the whole of the competition. That is at 3 o'clock, and some of the fixtures that we've seen, of course, that postponed or the cancelled fixture between the Knights and Saracens early on, which has given the table a bit of a twist. But Ealing Trailfinders out on their own really at the moment, unless Doncaster can join them with victory over Saracens today. So welcome back to the gantry from downstairs. Gents, it's good to have you, Charlie Foley and Jackson Ray. It's a cold one, isn't it? But we are keeping ourselves warm, and we hope you can keep us warm as well this afternoon in company across the game. Gents, how are you doing? And what do you think? How do you feel, Jackson, ahead of this one in terms of Saracens? What will be the mentality like given the 2 losses to Ealing?
I think the big thing for us is what we want to see. The result is obviously important, but if we can show a little bit more what we expect in our basics and the way we play the game, that's what we're really looking for today. We spoke a lot this week about that, and what we want to see today in general and here. Fortunately, we're able to hear everything today with no one here, so really looking forward to seeing what I can hear and what I can see out there. In the small things which don't always stand out, but will make a big difference for us.
For someone like yourself who's been at the club for many years, 252 Saracens appearances, I think, when you see a team lose back-to-back like that, which doesn't happen very often to Saracens, how does it make you feel? You bristling there, or is it something where in professional rugby you just got to accept when things happen like that, particularly in pre-season?
Yeah, I think it's probably a mix. I think obviously we're early in our development this year. We know we've got a new squad, young guys, people who haven't played for the club before. They've got to sort of get into the sort of the way we do things. So in many ways, it's a positive that we've had these lessons early. But probably the big thing for me is it is disappointing. We need to take that on board, and what was disappointing about the performances. The results are the results. It's pre-season. We're not too fussed really. We just want to see what we expect. And I think probably the disappointing thing is what we weren't where we wanted to be. But positive is we've got another chance today to show that.
So Doncaster Knights in their red stripes, or rather their red kit, I should say, led out by Bomber Hislop. And Charlie, a word on Bomber, of course, because he's someone who sort of almost resembles the soul of Doncaster Knights in recent years. And how good is it to have him back in the starting 15?
Yeah, it's great. He's been a standout player for us over the last couple of seasons. I think he may have been player of the season in both of the last 2 campaigns. So to have him out there is great. He's a big character around the club. He's pretty excited about coming back down to Saracens today. He has spoken about it a few times that he was down here for a brief spell. But yeah, no, it's great to have him back, and yeah, donning the captain's armband.
Of course, he does have a first name other than Bomber. It is Robin, but known to everyone as Bomber. And here come Saracens. Michael Rhodes there, someone who put himself about a little bit last week, but you felt like he was just 80 minutes short away of giving in a very, very good performance, and that may well be this afternoon. Tim Swinson is packing down in the second row with that man there, Joel Kapoku. And there is DT. Duncan Taylor. One of the scrum-hatted players in the team. Elliot Obotoyimbo at fullback joining him, and Tim Swinson as well. Our referee today, Andrew Jackson. And it will be Billy McBride who gets us underway from kickoff. So Doncaster at the StoneX Stadium down south, and looking to continue their developments under the new Steve Bowden era. And this is a performance from Saracens which you expect to start with a bang. And we have penalties.
Yeah, stick Donny on the line for us. Right.
Smiles there from Manu Vunipola. I'm sure like many players at Saracens making their first starts of the season. It's good to be back. Joel Kapoku, straight from the off from Tom Wollstonecroft.
Tackle, leave it! Tackle! No, it's not.
So Vunipola takes us into Doncaster territory. Jackson Ray, 2 penalties back to back. Not an explosive start, but a useful start.
Yeah, obviously a Bomber there, got a bit keen, flew in with no arms, and give us an opportunity to get up to where we are now. It's a good set piece, but a little bit loose to start with, but a lot better there.
Very slick off the line up to Taylor via Aled Davis, Welsh scrum half, and Andy Christie gets his first rumble of the afternoon. Now over to Vunipola again, and Rhodes was lurking, but just taking it to the floor, and Doncaster perhaps with a chance here. Howard Packman is hit hard though by Tim Swinson. No doubt a lot of frustration from him taken out in that hit as well. One of the Barbarians players to have been forced to have a late start to the season. So Billy McBride now with a penalty and the ball in his hands. Got a bit of action against Ealing Trailfinders, did Billy McBride, as Doncaster really had a resurgent second half, and that second half in no small way had a strong part to play in that. Charlie Foley kick-starting proceedings in that second half, not so much in the first half with your first touch of the season. What was it? It was a knock-on from the kick-off, wasn't it, 2 weeks ago?
I think that was me.
Doncaster short side. Yeah, mistaken identity, always claim it if you can. So here go Doncaster, and Bomber Hislop gets his hands on the ball in the loose head prop. And it is Britton carries it on. Gus Waugh looking for more masonry in the midfield. Now this is Jack Rouse. on loan from Ealing Trailfinders, is the number 7. Playing perhaps out of position at the open side, but holding the ball there, and this is James Kane in his first action for Doncaster. Missing out Davis and going to Will Britton again. Potential chance on the short side here if some trickery can be worked by James Newey. Saracens looking comfortable in defence so far. Vincent Koch looking to lend his shoulders into contact. Gus Wall, McBride loops it across. And the Saracens just biting in a little bit, and Doncaster, if they can play it quickly and wide, may have half a chance. Rotimi Shegan, well, he's closed that down very well. Here goes Hislop, shirks the first tackle from Swinson, player who was on loan here at Saracens at the back end of last season, so knows this team very well. Gus Wall at 9. Just got 20 minutes or so against Trailfinders. Now with a possible full 80 to impress Steve Bowden. McBride. Doncaster not making too many inroads, but they are keeping hold of the ball. James Newey plays first receiver, and now Kane puts it on his trusty left toe, and that's ricocheted, unfortunately for Elliot Obotoyimbo, right into Doncaster's path. Newey to Joe Jones, one of the only surviving players from 2 weeks ago. Hislop, he's making his presence felt early on. John Kelly, another summer signing from Plymouth Albion. Newey, picking up good positions is James Kane. Hislop again to McBride, and a lot more shape to Doncaster this weekend. In the entirety of the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, we haven't seen a set of phases go as long as that, but now it's Saracens who can break away. Turnover coming in the end. And Jackson Ray alongside me in the gantry is living every moment of Saracens' defence and now attack.
Yeah, worked very hard there. That's great to see. Good balance around the breakdown. Allowed us to see what was coming early, get off the line, and ultimately force a turnover.
James Kane hasn't held that, and perhaps Saracens they'll have possession from the line out. It was patient defence.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Doncaster kept the ball well there. There's a few opportunities at the breakdown, but in general, they kept the ball very well, and we had to be patient, keep working hard on the inside, and keep coming up to shut them down, and ultimately get the reward eventually.
So maybe another chance for Saracens with a bit more structure to proceedings. Wollstonecroft goes to Hunter Hill. Christie off the back, Davis into the midfield, plenty of options. It goes to Don Morris, he drops. And almost for a moment, Doncaster could have been away. But Charlie, in terms of the shape you saw in your team from that first long length of play, what were you pleased with that?
I think our ball retention generally was pretty good then. Obviously, we know Sarries have a pretty strong defensive setup. Perhaps didn't quite make the inroads we would have liked, but looked after the ball, went through the phases. Lots of boys getting a nice early touch, which will get them into the game. See Bomber very busy already, involved in a lot of action, leading from the front. Yeah, not a bad option, I think, from James Kane to put the kick through. Maybe a little bit tight to the touchline, could have put some pressure on Sarries.
Position with options here for Gus Wall. He has Billy McBride on the open side, his fly half, but his fullback James Kane on the near side.
See Vinny and Bomber here, they've obviously scummed a bit against each other last year, and I'm sure there'll be a bit of chat coming across. Don't quite know if we'll pick it up, but hopefully.
To turn Andrew Jackson's referee mic up or ask him to get a bit closer. It's a tough afternoon for anyone up against Vincent Koch in the front row. That's a very solid scrum from Doncaster, right from the off. McBride, Gus Wall can't follow in the slipstream, so Manu Vunipola calmly closes him down. The first part excellent from Doncaster at the set piece, but second part lacking. And they start again. The temperature this afternoon at the StoneX Stadium is plunging, but just about staying above freezing, at least until the light goes here, and then things really will get cold. But an industrious start from Doncaster. No danger of going cold from them. Saracens have, however, slowly eked their way forward and almost into Doncaster's 22.
Carried back. Use it, Doncaster. No, stand you in front. Stay position. Good.
Long box kick from Gus Wall. Howard Packman is after and manages to delay Elliot Obotoyimba, but he finds a bit of space. The Saracens fullback, Andy Christie, now offers himself. Someone who's benefited from the tutelage of Rodney Soialu, no less, in a stint in New Zealand. Vincent Koch, Aaron Reid.
Yeah, good both of you, thank
Comes
you.
in off his wing. Wollstonecroft. Taylor, Christie, Shegan puts it on to his foot, but that only goes out. Well, seemingly expansive, Jackson, but just a bit of imprecision.
Yeah, I think we're struggling a bit with the speed of ball. They're obviously getting good heat on the breakdown, which is slowing it down for us. If we can figure that out and speed up our ball, we might have a few opportunities. The minute we're letting them sort of recover a little bit too much, and we're not making the most of the opportunities we're making.
Line out off the top from Doncaster is good. Jack Rouse. Doncaster just stay on the near side and will benefit from the penalty.
Throw the cross into him.
So a reprieve really for Doncaster there, Charlie, but a very welcome one. Saracens, that slow trudge up the pitch always is menacing.
Yeah, very much so. We'll be pretty disappointed with that backline shot we had from the last scrum. Got a great platform from the forwards and didn't quite execute it, but managed to maintain our composure, get our hands back on the ball and win a penalty, and we're back in some good territory now, so we'll see what we can do from the line-up.
This is an area of the game which Ealing have been so effective at in recent games against Saracens, but Doncaster not quite as cohesive. So they have to go one out and use their props, and then the forwards can come round the other way. That time, Jerry Sexton. And a little bit of space for Newey, closed by Vincent Koch. War now. Jack Davies at number 8 for Doncaster. McBride. Hit coming in on more Doncaster pieces. This is Howard Packman, who just goes himself. Didn't feel he had the wheels outside him. Will Britton transferring very quickly through the middle.
You can't go like that. We go back.
And we'll come back for the first chance for points, perhaps. High tackle back in the set. A lively start from Doncaster, and although that penalty perhaps a bit soft, Jackson, there's a bit of patience there, isn't there, in defence?
Yeah, I think obviously I don't remember what that high tackle was. I think I must have missed that. I'm not sure if it was soft or not, but obviously they keep the ball well, and we've just got to be very alive to the fact that we need to make sure that we're getting out, filling the pitch and coming up strong, because ultimately they're offering to play and keeping the ball well and getting quick balls. So for us, it's about keep doing what we're doing, impact the breakdown, and keep going for them.
So Billy McBride lining this one up.
On you?
Another summer signing for Doncaster. Joined from RGC 1404 in the summer. Topped the charts in the Welsh Premiership last season. But not off the mark from the off at the Stonex, just going to the right of the posts. So Charlie, after 15 minutes, despite there's potential for points there not taken, how will Doncaster be looking at those first 15? Would you be happy with them?
On the whole, I think there's plenty to be positive about. Our ball retention's been pretty good, and we've been rewarded with a few penalties. As you see, if you look after the ball for long enough, infringements have been made. I think we'd like to improve a little bit on the quality as we go through the phases, and perhaps maybe execute a bit more of the chances we create.
Harry Strong having to go straight there in the 12 jersey for Doncaster. McBride is operating just behind his first receiver quite effectively. But Saracens lining up the runners outside him. Another penalty to go with it. This time, McBride says, "I'll have a second go."
Yeah, some good line speed there from the lads. They obviously, we got out of the well, we pushed out the back, managed to catch them. Just a little bit, over keen at the breakdown from Swin over there. Not sure if it was fully on, so. I think the most important thing is to have good numbers on feet and then make the most of the opportunities when they're actually properly on. So, a little bit of a shame, but I like what I'm seeing in terms of the line speed and the energy around what we're doing.
Don't hold him when he's done. If he hits me later, I can't.
He's got Wales representative experience. Billy McBride, plenty of it. Went to the Junior World Championships with Wales in 2016. Jerry Sexton helping him out on the floor. So Doncaster, after a bright start, take the lead. 3 points from the boots of Billy McBride, and they lead at the Stonex.
Just lose the second one. Just wait till that one's off, won't you? Just wait till that ball's gone.
Manu Vunipola.
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Player who really rose to prominence in recent seasons, a little bit earlier than expected in his terms of his development. He's proven himself at a Premiership level, at a European level as well.
Use it, Doncaster!
And ability in the Championship season will be exciting to see what he creates.
Stop. Good, thank you. Yeah.
Elliot Obotoyinbo claims that calmly out of the skies. He's starting to shirk a few tackles, Obotoyinbo. He's been shackled well so far in this pre-season competition. And there's Ali Crossdale unable to shirk the attentions of Doncaster. Tim Swinson, who came out of retirement to join Saracens over the summer,
Use now, Saracens.
made an impression quickly for his boyhood club.
Shut up.
Anna Davis goes high. That is very well placed, and it's gone too far for James Kane to claim. Jack Davis instead tidying up. And again, another penalty. And
6 all outside.
it is hamstringing Saracens at the moment.
It's just a bit disappointing. Obviously, we've got a lot of the time there's a tackler in the breakdown, and that's probably costing us. It's not really the competing, which is a problem. It's the guy not getting out of the tackle. So it's an easy penalty for the referee. So we've just got to be careful to try and make those decisions based on what's happening.
Yeah,
get that tackler out of the breakdown, give us an opportunity over the ball, But if he doesn't get that guy out, it's an easy penalty, unfortunately. And obviously letting the pressure off there, well, we've got them exactly where we want them.
A contrast with the start against Ealing 2 weeks ago for Doncaster, worlds apart. It's much more controlled, and the bounce of the ball as well. The rub of the green, whichever way you want to call it, has been going their way now.
Get out!
They can start to work their muscle from the maul. 5 yards or so created for Waugh. And now Harry Strong.
Advantage 4 from the side, then lifted the leg.
Was it the entry or was it the leg?
No, 4 from the side and then the entry.
Really in the eyes of Andrew Jackson, Saracens unable to do anything right.
Yeah, I mean, he was talking to Joel there. You know, he told him to get out, but obviously Joel maybe he's
from the side, then lifted the leg.
I'm not sure, but you know, I think he probably should have got out of there, and I think we just have to improve our height on that ball. A little bit too high, too many heads up, and obviously they got a little bit of a shove on there. So
it's side entry, so you're not going to get the one in the air when you leave him up there.
Okay, yeah, can you watch for them in the air?
So Billy McBride will have a third shot at goal.
Bring him down straight away, and then we will, yeah.
6 points ahead.
White, but he's got blood.
Jackson, it's not easy, of course, leading a team, but when the referee is going against you, and the relationship you build with referees is so important, of course. Andrew Jackson, someone who has so much Premiership experience, but you've got to make sure you kind of maintain those lines and do what they say, but you know, not let your frustration show.
Yeah, it's not easy when you're on the back foot and on the back of some bad decisions. Well, it's perceived bad decisions, but you know, I think it is important. You know, you have to try and manage that. And I think that's part of it. You know, the communication that you have with the referees, you know, is obviously, you know, massive for the flow of the game. You know, the 50-50s that may or may not go your way, but you know, ultimately it's about doing the right things and being disciplined. So I think that's a big focus for us.
So Billy McBride just 1 from 3, but happy to have a go, and
thanks, Charlotte.
It is keeping Saracens penned in. As Allianz Park, the Stonex Stadium starts to get a bit darker. Gus Waugh, Jack Davies again. Possession in these first quarter of the match is all Doncaster. Bomber Hislop takes a nice line. And despite the possession, Doncaster haven't yet penetrated. Haven't yet broken Saracens' defence down. James Newey choosing to stick with the ball rather than pass it on to his wingers. Good energy at the collisions. Gus Waugh again. McBride needs another option, and it's Aaron Reid who's taken that very well. Crossdale can't quite bring him down. Manu Vunipola neither. Don Morris covers.
There are offside lines.
Waugh to Hislop. And that time Saracens do make their presence felt. McBride's. And finally, Jackson Ray, Saracens get a break.
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, obviously I've got these headphones on, but I can hear the energy coming up, which is brilliant. Obviously a good set there. They got a bit of an edge on the crossfield. We worked hard to get back, to get out from the breakdown and put a good shot on Bomber there. And obviously the shot to the ball. So, you know, that's the stuff we need. That's the energy we want. Combine that with a bit more discipline around the breakdown and decisions. You know, hopefully we can start working around the field. I just start Charlie there if there's any wind. You know, usually you do get a bit of wind playing the way that Saracens are at the moment. So I think it's just a case of, you know, playing the conditions a little bit as well, and being smart what we're doing. But you know, in many ways, it's been a positive start.
Joey, how did Doncaster turn the screw from positions like this? Saracens ball, of course, but with the field position they've had.
Yeah, slightly disappointing finish of the set, but a much better set, I thought. I thought the crossfield kick was a great option from Billy. Negate a bit of the line speed that Saracens are throwing us. Like Jackson said, you can hear sort of the energy and the buzz they're trying to create. They want to get off the line and hit you. So yeah, the kicking options, attacking kicking options, can be a great shout for us going forward.
Tim Swinson lands all manner of awkwardly on the floor after that tackle.
Use that, Sarries.
And Davis will get rid. James Kane underneath it, and Tim Swinson smiling as he gets to his feet somehow from that heavy collision. Good to see him up.
Obviously a great chase there. I mean, like, it's great to see. That's the sort of thing we need to be doing. Conditions are difficult. You know, the wingers have struggled with the high balls today already. You know, we've got to pair up that great kick with an unbelievable chase. So we managed to do it that time. You know, and these are the sort of positions we want to be in. These are the opportunities we want to get off the back of that. I hope Tim's all right. He landed quite nice on his head there on that carry. So fingers crossed he shakes that off. But you know, knowing him, he's tough as nails, but he does enough to let you know about it.
Yeah, Tim Swinson he's had a very long career. Started at Newcastle, of course, came there through university. And everyone thought to a point that his career would be over, but Saracens gave him the call after his retirement. And he answered it, played himself into selection for Saracens' European games as well.
Yeah, great character, Tim. You know, he came in last year. You know, and he's settled in pretty well. You know, he's a good man, been around, and he's absolutely full of strange wisdom. Tim, you know, he's a very smart man, and comes up all sorts of pearls.
Anything that sticks in the mind?
Well, he's studying law, so you know, law and politics he's very into. So you can sit and have some good debates with Tim, and you'll be there a while, unless you've got something else to go to.
Crouch.
As long as he lets other people win occasionally.
Bind. Squidward. Set.
Davis has to move quickly. Vunipola has to reset slightly. He does well in fly half. Wollstonecroft offers himself to Davis.
Tackle. That's it. It's taking space.
Saracens break right onto Crossdale, who has a little bit more space this time. Taken down well by Reed.
Still your advantage.
Two young starlets up against each other on this near side wing in Aaron Reed and Ali Crossdale. Saracens have that advantage and turn that into a penalty.
So 6 back into space.
Jackson Ray, you're next to me saying Saracens should go for the corner here.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, obviously a big part of what we've been working on this week is around set piece. You know, I expect us to try and take it to Doncaster here and see if we make some improvements on last week.
So Saracens within 15 of Doncaster's line, and this about the best field position Sarries have had in the match so far.
14 behave.
So Saracens without the services of Ali Crossdale as he receives some attention, but they won't need him at least for a while. Is Hunter Hill and Wollstonecroft and co.
Get out.
Start to form a wedge. Swinson joins and it's separated slightly, so Wollstonecroft breaks and does well the hooker. Richard Barrington. Andy Christie has missed out, and Hunter Hill, such an awkward frame to have to hold to the floor, so to Michael Rhodes. The Saracens 5 metres away now. Davis with options either side of the ruck. He goes up to his backs. Vunipola just pumps once and goes to Rotimi Shegan, and it is inch perfect from Saracens. Super slick.
Yeah, it was obviously very good. I mean, the set piece didn't quite get the momentum that we wanted. We then played out. Wolfie did very well. Then we tried to sort of punch a few more times, got an advantage, and the man who's thrown a speculator over the top just missed the winger, so good finish.
Yeah, slightly disappointing set for us there. A great pass to finish it off, but giving away the easy penalty gave him licence to have a go. I think it's probably our Achilles heel in the Ealing game was too many penalties, which gave them entries into our 22. And if you play against these good sides and give them enough chances, eventually they're going to take one.
Saracens with the first try in the contest. 5 points to 3, kick to come. Rotimi Shegan crossing again. Rotimi Shegan was Saracens' top try scorer last season. And he's picking up tries in this campaign as well. Pre-season I should say, against Leicester. He was on the score sheet in the score sheet again this afternoon. So Vunipola, not quite the angle with his kick.
Make sure lads.
So just 2 points in the contest as Doncaster kick off. So we knock on half an hour at the StoneX. Saracens, having flexed their muscles now, have shown their attacking quality. A little bit of class from Vunipola creating it. But it was built on good work from the forwards. And that felt like Saracens of old, didn't it? Saracens of last season and many title-winning campaigns that have meant that Jackson Ray, your personal trophy cabinet is rather bulging.
Don't count.
It was old school Saracens.
Yeah, obviously, that's where we want to be. We want to, force them to play, get opportunities half the field, and now it's about following it up. Obviously, our first, foray into the 22.
James Kane, up from fullback for Doncaster, did well, and Bonner Hislop with some of the softest skills you can see in the front row, putting the ball down, picking it up so we could go again. Jack Davies just checks, and that quells his momentum. McBride behind Shegan, and Harry Strong can just usher him out.
Hey, I told you to stop.
Yeah, offside there gives us an opportunity. I think
12 was in front.
I think there we didn't quite get the exit as accurate as we'd have liked, probably. It's something we've put a big focus on, getting our own half. Something we haven't been good enough at the last few weeks. But now, obviously, got another opportunity into the 22, so let's see what happens.
A little bit more strut about Saracens now from this set piece. One wonders what is in the mind of Manu Vunipola. Two cousins, of course, Billy and Mako, engaged against for England against Italy early this afternoon. And he is in the club colours. And here is Rotimi Shegan again, looking for more space, but knocking the ball on in contact. It was Ben Hunter who got to him in the end. Haven't seen enough really of Rotimi Shegan over the course of these matches, not on his wing, but that was nice to see.
Yeah, obviously Rotti there's nice sort of first phase move we used there. Almost had an opportunity there on the front foot, but lost in contact. And yeah, I think obviously Rotti in the last few weeks it's been difficult. We haven't really probably been managing the games we'd liked. It definitely feels like today we're a lot closer to where we expect to be in that sense. So hopefully we see Rotti on the front foot with a bit more ball in hand.
So 5 points to 3 on the half-hour mark. And if you do have any questions about the game, if you want to put anything to Jackson or Charlie at half-time, then we'll be asking them any questions you like, really. We managed to reveal Alex Lewington had his identity stolen last week. That was something we dealt with live on air. That was interesting. And who knows what will come up. But put your questions to us, and the hashtag is #SarVDon. Meanwhile, Doncaster's scrum is holding firm against Saracens. Gus Waugh actually getting a nudge. And that scrum even cheering the likes of backs up with us, Charlie Foley. That was getting you animated.
Yeah, it's about as excited as I'll get over a scrum. Looked a pretty solid platform there from the boys. Thought at one point might have had a penalty advantage to play, but it seems to not be the case. Yeah, main thing for us here really is to hold it solid and get a nice decent exit and get out of our half.
Yeah, I think from obviously Baz on the loose head side, he's going to try and keep it square, keep going through. Obviously Doncaster tight head, maybe giving it a little bit more of an angle, come around the outside. So for us, we need to keep going straight, keep going square, and make that obvious.
Well, if you're listening to some of our streams earlier in the campaign, we had Richard Barrington on in that first match, Ealing against Saracens, and he was benefiting from his expertise in the front row. But it's good to see him in his normal colours, with his nose halfway down his shirt at the moment. But Someone who's been, like Jackson, part of the furniture really for so long at this club. But also someone who came through the Championship as well and benefited from that experience. And yourself as well at that, Jackson.
He doesn't mind talking about his days at Hartbury. He in Hartbury, Jersey, he absolutely loved it. So, you know, part of me is loving being at the Championship to be able to go back to these places.
Is Bedford's on the CV for yourself as well?
Yeah, for sure. Played a lot for Bedford, obviously. You know, when I was in, earlier on in my career, and obviously I got Shav on there, and obviously the boys will be disappointed with that, but they'll fix it up and they'll go again.
Well, Doncaster animated, celebrating that. Jack Davies pumped the number 8. The penalty hasn't found touch. Will Hooley is on. Ala Davis goes to the skies again. Shegan and Kapoku come after. And Gus Waugh doesn't have to play it. They have the penalty.
Yeah, quite fortunate to get away with that one there. Obviously a superb scrum from the forwards to win the penalty. Unfortunately, Bill won't be happy missing touch, but he got another chance here, so hopefully he can stick this into the 22 and get back on the attack.
Yeah. Billy McBride makes good. And Charlie, from your knowledge of training so far, what will be the orders here?
I think this far out, I'll probably look to have a drive first. Backs would obviously ideally love a platform to strike off to play a first phase play. But I think the boys up front will probably get first dibs on this one.
Ben Hunter, someone who has been at the club for 7 years, on the line-out, but Erring and Michael Rhodes just looks to flatten Gus Waugh. Vunipola plays. Taylor, Morris. Some precious little of Don Morris attacking talents so far in this match. Will Hooley gets rolled out into the blue.
Yeah, it's probably on to play there. I think it was disappointed to get caught near the touchline. The decision was right. Execution probably wasn't where we expected to be. Especially playing out your own half. But good pressure at the line out to force the overthrow, and hopefully we can squeeze this next line out and get the ball back.
That there is James Newey, who arrived from the Jersey Reds over the summer. Caught the eye actually, in part because of his try-scoring record against the Knights. Scored in 4 of the 7 matches he's played against Doncaster in his career for Jersey and for Bristol, and Gus Waugh there. And his opposite number, Ala Davis, who's starting to settle into the Saracens number 9 jersey. It was fitted for Richard Wigglesworth for so many years, and Spencer as well. But Ala Davis potentially putting himself as Mark McCall's number 1. Penalty Saracens.
Yeah, I think that one there obviously done for sealing off around the back. Made to be quite obvious, which is something we try and work on. And, by having a good gap and doing things the right way, it does show up those sort of discussions. So yeah, positive for us there. Good opportunity now back into Doncaster half. Be looking to look at some nice sharp set piece and to hopefully have a bit of momentum.
Yes, please, yeah.
Still a 2-point game as we nudge on towards half-time. Vincent Koch plays his part in securing the ball. Duncan Taylor, and the ball is knocked forward. Perhaps Doncaster a chance to strike from depth.
No!
They're so dangerous in that facet of the game, but McBride just looks to go over the top. It's well read by Davis, and Aaron Reid can't muster much. Davis sets off. Taylor, Kapoku muscles through the first and the second. Joel Kapoku taking on all comers. Vunipola now shakes across to the left, and Hooley pops up into the line. Swinson, this is looking ominous from Saracens, but Callum Hunterhill can't take the ball. Head back to Jackson.
I mean, it is. I mean, there's. I mean, my hands are cold and I've got gloves on, so I mean, I'm not too. You know, there's going to be mistakes out there today. I have no doubt. You know, cold conditions may not be ideal. Just a few errors really making it difficult, but not something we usually get, you know, overly lose sleep on. But the intent and the mentality is what we're after. And for the most part, it's there. It's about building on these opportunities now, being a little bit more clinical, and keeping Doncaster on the back foot.
I mean, from the perspective of fans, we're just so used to seeing Saracens look so slick in those moments. Anything other than precision, it does look awkward almost. And that's much better. Wollstonecroft onto Kapoku, who heads off, taking on Doncaster physically and up and almost to the line. Great run from the second row, and this has set Saracens up nicely.
Get on side, lads.
Plenty of options either side. The big pieces muscling their way over, and Saracens have a second, and that was all about the power.
Yeah, first of all, I mean, unbelievable throw from Wolfie. You know, hit Rosie right at the back, I think 16 metres there, and then a lovely little drop down to Joel. Obviously worked on in the week, and I'm not being funny, when he's running around the corner that fast, it's very difficult to stop. So obviously he almost got there, but then the boys sort of got tight, numbers around the ball, and you know, we sort of had to score there.
Can't. I'd love to.
Yeah, I see here. I mean, yeah, you don't want to be seeing that. I'm sure if you're a 9 or a 10. Unfortunately, we didn't quite get there, but you see the boys very quick to get around the ball, get organised into the shape we look for, get good weight around the ball. You can see Wolfie here, he gets big lads around him, got big Baz at the back, and he lifted him through, fighting to stay up, and yeah, it's just too much to get over the line. Very difficult to defend there. I'm sure Charlie will agree. It's not a nice place to be.
Yeah, I think you can see the importance of that first phase collision. When Sarries are on the front foot like that and go over the gain line quite by that much, it's going to be very difficult to stop, particularly when they then end up 1 metre from the try line.
Successful conversion of Tom Wollstonecroft's try. The Saracens now looking on the scoreline much more settled and happier with life. Joel Kapoku, what a run that was from the second row. Really good to see him taking on the ball in anger like that.
Use it, that's advantage over from the knock on in the tackle.
Davis not looking to do anything too flashy from this area. Wollstonecroft, the try scorer, in control of where his forwards go. Hunter Hill, has he been rolled?
Another example there of Doncaster probably getting caught on the wrong side, just like Saracens did early in the half. It's a very, very easy penalty for the referee to give away. I think, unfortunately, Doncaster got on the wrong side of the breakdown and competed. So again, something the referee easy pick out, easy decision.
So that is half time at the StoneX Stadium. Saracens coming through a real test by Doncaster, but they have come out on the side of 12 points to 3. 1 try from the forwards, 1 try from the backs. Rotimi Shegan crossing firstly, and then Tom Wollstonecroft getting one for his back pocket. And Charlie Foley, start with yourself in terms of reflections. A very decent half from Doncaster.
Yeah, I think a lot of endeavour, a lot of grit, a lot of passion, a lot of heart, all those things, just lacking a little bit in the quality. We've created enough opportunities, had enough field position and enough territory possession to perhaps have scored more than 3 points. So I think we'll probably reflect at half-time on a lot of good things, a lot of positives, a lot of pressure applied, and if we can just turn that pressure into some more points, then I think we can get ourselves right back in the game.
Yeah, certainly no doubting Doncaster's ability to flip a game in the second half. And let's have a look at the highlights from the first period. And Jackson and Charlie, perhaps you can talk us through it.
Yeah, just from Saracens' point of view, I think obviously that we stood some pressure there. You know, during that half, we kept the ball quite well in that. And obviously we've got an opportunity here to come through. And Manu gets the ball with an advantage, throws it over the top. The fullback almost gets his fingers to it, but you know, Rotti in there, good finish. Yeah, nice ball over the top from Manu. Nice little running for Rotti, but obviously came from a good set piece. good bits around the corner and an advantage. And Manu obviously saw space on the outside and managed to get it there. One of the few opportunities we really had in there, 22. I think our conversion rate has been pretty good. I think it's probably been 2 from 2 or 2 from 3. So, that's something we need to really, keep going on into the second half, get ourselves into these positions, be accurate in there, and physically on top. You work hard up the pitch to get into these positions. So about making the most of it. So it's positive.
Yeah, I think the second try there, you saw the gain line success on the first phase, and then I think be a little bit disappointed with our body height defending on our goal line. I think we know if we're going to go high there, we're going to struggle to stop them short of the line. If you just have a look here, I think we talk about sort of a 3-point stance, get nice and low. Yeah, I think we're just a little bit too high on that defensive effort, and it's a good finish in fairness.
Yeah, I think from us, the thing we've been looking at this week is numbers around the ball. I think last week we got into this position and didn't really make the most of it. A little bit loose, gave Ealing opportunities over the ball, giving chances to recover. In this game so far, we've been a lot more in control of what we've been doing, which is positive. In our own half, we've been very good at doing the right things, making the right decisions. Just a little bit more consistency with ball in hand, a little bit more better decision making around defensive breakdowns, when to go in, when not to. And they're the sort of the things which are letting Doncaster into the half. So if we can take that away and pair it up with some warmer hands, maybe. I know they've got hand warmers in there, so they'll be getting them in. So if we can pair that up, we'll have hopefully a good second half and build on that.
Excellent. Well, we'll be continuing to cast our eye over that first half, but firstly let's just run some adverts from the sponsors who are helping to bring this live stream to us all.
Find your escape. Find your surprise. Find your adventure. Find your exotic. Find your freedom. Find your wild side. Find yourself.
Trust Trailfinders, guaranteeing your travels since 1970.
So just a reminder of the championship season to come for Saracens, and this is how it's going to play out. The 6th of March, the Cornish Pirates are hosting Saracens, and then it comes thick and fast after that. There are a few bye weekends, of course, factored into proceedings, particularly because of COVID, so they can hopefully catch up if they are to be suspended. But then it all filters through. Everyone will play every team, either home or away, not both, either home or away, and London Scottish, are one of the teams who are not able to join this competition, so it's just 11 teams and all building up towards those playoffs to get into the Premiership in June. So women's game tomorrow is kick-off at 2 p.m, but coverage from a little bit before that has become much more interesting with the news that Quins have lost to Loughborough Lightning this afternoon, so it really opens things up and Saracens can kick on, or can they? Gloucester Hartpury are the visiting side for that one, so do join us then if you can. So you may have noticed that Saracens have a dashing new kit to run out in at the moment, and here it is on screen. It's just a reminder that you can get it for 25% off at the moment, and that includes a £5 donation to the Saracens Foundation. So if you want to get your new kits for Saracens, go to shop.saracens.com and you get 25% off February sales, and that is a bargain, isn't it? Jackson, I don't reckon you've probably had to buy your jersey, but if you were to have to, you'd probably buy one, wouldn't you? It's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think 25% off and money to charity is an absolute winner at the moment. Obviously, with what's going on in the world, it's obviously nice to have a bit of extra discount on the shirts. But no, it's a nice shirt. I'm not sure if big Richard Barrington will look great in a tight one, but like he does out here, I think he looks better in black than red, to be honest.
He said he appreciated the stripes because they were slimming.
Yeah, he would do. I mean, as I say, I think he'd you'd prefer us playing at home than away, because I don't think Reds has forgiven us back. So.
Well, there we go. What more of a reason do you have for getting a new Saracens kit for this season? We are just going to play out some more of the adverts of people who have brought this stream to the screen.
Timing is everything. It's taking the opportunity. It's executing the right trade. It's relying on our award-winning platform. It's trusting our 37-year heritage. Timing is everything. It's your advantage. Spread betting and CFD trading on over 12,000 global markets. City Index, your advantage.
A really good sleep doesn't just happen overnight. It takes 40 years of expertise. It takes 7 layers of body-supporting technology and up to 5,000 patented titanium aerocoil springs that move air freely around you for a cool, deep, sound sleep.
Yeah, I got the money in the bank like guts on the begin again like jump on the bomb on the bunker of luck. Bitch on the get them on man. Sit down and warm in the boom man. Tap down but don't bomb with the boom black.
So I think my favourite comeback was the Loughborough game, I'd say.
I think mine was Quinn's.
Why?
Mine was because of what the game meant.
The first try that we got that catalyst.
I don't think at any point I was properly worrying, thinking, oh God, we're going to lose this, which is ridiculous when you're 20 points down.
What about Alex's speech at half-time?
The silence in that room after he stopped, that was insane.
What about your favourite social?
There's only one to talk about, yeah. It's
final.
the final.
Yeah. What one?
Yeah, which final?
Oh, I wasn't at the first one.
Oh.
one of those moments you were both at.
Did we break the trophy again?
Many times.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
God, it is diverting, isn't it, to be seeing those adverts play out, particularly Trailfinders advert of holidays abroad and some of that whey protein adverts filmed in LA, it looks like, and then also just the pub as well for the last one, Made for Drink as well. Those snacks are excellent. If you get a chance, Made for Drink, one of the Saracens sponsors as well. So do get them when you get a chance, when you get back to the StoneX Stadium. We are waiting for you. It's going to be good. But for now, we're going to just have a little question and answer session with Charlie and Jackson, because you've been tweeting in to ask them direct questions, one for each of you particularly that have caught my eye. We'll start with Charlie. Charlie, is it true that you once beat Leeds Metropolitan University on your own at varsity? And that's from Will McGee.
Well, I just like to go on record and say it wasn't me that came up with that phrase. Yeah, he's referring to our university game, which was a fair few years ago now, when I was at Leeds Uni against Leeds Met. I think, if memory serves me right, I scored more points than Met did in the game. But yeah, I'd just like to clarify, it wasn't me that came up with that phrase.
Hence the reason why you could argue that you won it by yourself. Not that you clearly did, but others have done that for you. Well, there you go, Will McGee. Hope that answers the question. One for Jackson, again, from the Saracens Fezcast, who do a really good podcast, actually, by the way, if you're looking for a podcast about Saracens, about rugby. Could you ask Jackson if the squad has received any zombie apocalypse survival tips from Alec Clary?
all I can say is that we found the videos, we put them up regularly, just to keep a bit of entertainment. And I must admit, whenever you even mention it around him, he gets so embarrassed about it. He's honestly embarrassed. I don't know if you've seen it, but go on and type in "zombie apocalypse," and you've got Big Alec there, just letting you know some of the key pointers to surviving one. It involves canned food and water. I'll give you a bit of a heads up, but it is truly interesting viewing. And yeah, I'm not sure he hasn't got much of a defence, to be honest.
Well, that's my bus trip home sorted.
So, just to be clear, he's a YouTuber and he likes to YouTube about zombie apocalypse.
So I think there's a couple of videos when he was at university, and I think he's obviously a very different character now, but he's a properly good bloke. But yeah, he got really fascinated by the idea. I don't know if it's because of a TV series he was watching, or maybe The Walking Dead, for anyone who knows it. It could have been anything like that. So he's a funny man, and I've no doubt there was some comedy behind it. But he still gets embarrassed nonetheless.
Well, there we go. Fezcast, that answers the question. Alec Clary, we have seen him in action very briefly in the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, and we hope to see him again talking about anything, particularly zombie apocalypses. From the Exeter Saracens RFC girls, by the way, they sent a message to say good luck to Sarries legend Jack Rouse on his debut for the Doncaster today against Sarries. So Sarries, Exeter Sarries legend. I think that is the insinuation. Yeah, Jack Rouse made a few carries so far in the match. Yeah, making his debut for Doncaster on loan from Ealing Trailfinders. And as well as that, we had. Well, someone actually ran a poll before the match to see who would be first try scorer, and you should have put money on it because the answer that everyone gave, 44%, was Rotimi Shegun. That was Laura Kate Turner, so well done, Laura, for running that poll. And yeah, Rotimi Shegun delivered the goods, didn't he, with that first try for Saracens, with the second one followed on by Tom Wollstonecroft. So Doncaster have managed to get into the changing rooms. I hope there were some hand warmers or water bottles as well in there for them. And they are back out on the pitch. 12 points to 3, they turn around with a deficit. And Charlie, what do you think would have been talked about in terms of changing anything, or actually it's just a case of doing exactly as they were doing and hoping that the universe helps them out a little bit somewhere along the line?
Yeah, I think, as we said before, just before half-time, I think there's a lot of good stuff to build on. Just a few inaccuracies. I think the last couple of line-outs we had was probably a good summary of the half for us. Getting in good positions and just lacking that little bit of quality when it really mattered. Hopefully, if we can reduce the penalty count heading into the second half and be on the right side of the rest whistle, then we can get back down, get some territory and look to build a score.
Yeah, that penalty count was very much against Saracens at the start of that match, wasn't it, Jackson? But from a back row perspective, there's Andy Christie in the centre of our pitch, there's Callum Hunter-Hill on the blind side. What have the back row got to do differently, or not?
Yeah, I think obviously, I had mentioned Andy before the game. He's brought a lot of energy out and getting off the floor quickly. We said we'd see him a lot, and he has been. We've seen him getting into position quickly, helping people around him, bringing a good energy and a good buzz to what we're doing. And that's exactly what back row is about. Rose is out there doing what he does, manhandling people. You've got Andy there bringing a lot of energy, trying to get his hands on the ball, and that's what we really need from these guys, especially towards the end of the second half when it's getting tiring. That hopefully bring that.
Manu Vunipola gets us underway. And Doncaster brought down just outside their 22. Gus Waugh has a fully loaded short side. And Hislop is the man he goes to, unsurprisingly, after his stellar return to Doncaster colours in the first half. Robin Hislop, he was everywhere. And Waugh goes long. Fielded, and Christie now occupying the backfield and getting Saracens over halfway.
Second go.
Penalty Saracens.
Yeah, Andy, good carry there. Obviously got the ball early, great carry. I think the Doncaster hooker there, he had one go at it, got cleaned out, and then came back for another one. And that's an easy pick out for the referee. Unfortunately, if you have two goes, it stands out, and we can get back in the 22. Good kick, and then see what set piece we can bring.
So Vunipola gets Saracens to within 15 metres. And the back line shaping up with real width, and Will Hooley, who came on in the first half, has stayed on in the second half. He's in the back line as well, but it's an overthrow and Barrington has to make best with what he can. He does well, the loose head prop. Now Rhodes is on the charge. Davis to Vincent Koch, standing start for the World Cup winner. But that doesn't matter too often for Vincent Koch. He turns well and makes a few more yards. Wollstonecroft this time on the step. Barrington for his second charge. Very precise from Saracens, everything being put together nicely. Now Vunipola goes around the back. Back to Morris. And it's a Saracens who are going to turn over possession here. Andrew Jackson marching everyone back. And penalty Doncaster.
Not quite sure what that was for. I'm trying to pick up from the referee, but it was 6-something. So Callum's done something in and amongst that. But you know, disappointing. Had him on the bit of the back foot there. You know, I hope he can pressure the set piece.
Well, in case those of you at home are picking that up directly from our referee, we're having a few audio problems in terms of picking up our referee for us, but you may know exactly what has gone on along there. Anyway, Doncaster with the ball, having survived that first challenge. Gus Waugh, again going on the short side. Doncaster's shape, just very happy to keep playing. And Charlie, is that something that Steve Bowden has clearly said at half-time? Let's play even in our own half.
I don't think we want to be hanging around here for too long. Just a couple of phases, and if it's not on to get past the 40, then we'll look to exit and try to put some pressure on. But we've had a couple of warning shots of kicking it too long and not getting a solid chase. Charge down there, but hopefully we can get rid.
James Kane, has he made touch just?
Yeah, obviously, yeah, from our point of view on that, it's a brilliant bit of play there. You know, obviously we forced them into go in extra phases when they probably didn't want to, by impacting the breakdown, and then we get the, you know, obviously just on this clip here, we make an opportunity, didn't quite get it right, and obviously the penalty was given. But there, you know, we forced them to set up this breakdown again. Probably not in the perfect position. Callum got through really well. Forced them to play, and then forced the poor kick, and here we are.
Superb line-out drills from Saracens, and they look to move their market stall forward.
Try and find the edge of this maul here. You know, a great bit of play. Wolford decided to break off, but should be in the 22.
Vunipola on to Taylor, and Morris can't quite take it. So Waugh relieves the pressure. Shegan and Obotoyimbo are both back. And what can they concoct? Shegan gets past the first, but the Doncaster defence gather round. So Vunipola drops back and dinks it in behind. McBride's read the play well, positioning himself nicely, the fly half. And it's two fly halves matching each other, with Vunipola going down the sidelines, and Doncaster caught napping with only Gus Waugh back. So Vunipola shadows the number 9. Waugh does get the ball away.
Yeah, I was just going to say there was a great kick from Doncaster 10 there down the line, and obviously the backfield wasn't set, so it gave Manu a great opportunity to put a little dink in behind, and unfortunately the pitch was good to us. I've seen them run all the way to the dead ball, but a good bounce of the ball for us there.
Yeah, as Jackson said, it was a good kick from Billy. Just a bit of lack of communication, I think, for who's chasing and who's staying back. Can't be leaving that sort of space for a return kick to head back into.
Got another opportunity in the 22 here. Obviously, look for another strong set piece. Hopefully, we can get a bit more of an edge in our maul. That's one thing we haven't really had. Looking to try and get around the back of them here. As you can see there, we're just trying to stay on our feet. Took it down, unfortunately.
Michael Rhodes taking that in the line-out with another 7 on his back, rather unusually. Jack Rouse as well, his opposite man, not a natural number 7. There is big beef in both packs this afternoon, and Saracens have a chance here, but Timmy Shegan can't take it.
Yeah, I think we got away with one there. We seemed a bit light on numbers on the short side.
Yeah, we're creating some opportunities, some good opportunities. For example, there, back of that line out, a strong win of the ball. We're looking to try and get around the back with our maul, but take it down to deck. A little bit impatient, probably, in trying to move too quickly, losing our feet. And again, on that, probably a bit too impatient to go to the whip. I think we need to be a bit more direct. The runners into the line there, we held them, just forced it a bit too much, and the error came. So just a bit more time, a bit more patience, and it will come.
Bind.
Doncaster scrum firm in the first half. And just creaking a touch at the start of the second as Saracens ramp it up, but now they're playing from deep. Shegan. It's a good chase from John Kelly. Swinson just nailed that into the arm of Andy Christie. Saracens are lucky not to have knocked that off. Hunter Hill, who's been so reliable and a source of go-forward ball for Saracens in this Trailfinders Challenge Cup.
Use that then, Sarries!
Yeah, we got a bit fortunate there. Obviously tried to play a little bit out of the back there and made a little bit of an error, but mopped it up pretty well. Got ourselves back in control and managed to put some pressure back on them.
So 7 minutes of play in this second half, and not one of the carries Doncaster have made has been in Saracens' half. They're quite content at the moment to be playing from where they are.
Let him go!
It's not something we saw right at the start of this competition with Ealing and Saracens. No one wanted to play in their own half.
No, I think it's something which we probably got wrong, to be honest, in terms of where we're managing and how we're playing the game. Definitely something which has been a key difference for me in this game. It's been where we've been playing the game. Where we've been forcing teams to play from. Obviously I know we didn't get the outcome there, but if you miss half, so far, we've been playing really well in the right areas, making Doncaster play from deep, which is difficult. It seems like against the wind as well. It seems like the wind's kicked up a bit.
Yeah, it's not the start to the half we would have hoped for, or that we would have spoke about, I think, at half time. We've struggled really to get a foothold. We've struggled a bit with our exits, so we've perhaps got away with a couple of knock-ons when it seemed like there was overlaps for Saracens. So I think it's important for us to defend this set now and then build a decent exit and try and get a bit more territory.
Yeah, another set piece, obviously scrum for the lads. The last scrum showed a little bit more about what we're looking for. Trying to be patient, trying to edge forward, trying to break down strong Doncaster front row. Hopefully we can start seeing some results from that as we get into the late half.
It has been the second half where Saracens have been in trouble against Ealing Trailfinders. So we'll be trying to flip
usually it's
that
commentator's curse, but unfortunately that one went for me. Obviously the last scrum was a good marker about what we're going to do and the pressure we need to continue to put on them. And that one there, that you obviously can see a bit of a crack from the front row of Doncaster there, and hopefully we can start to get some change to give ourselves an opportunity to get to these areas. And a great kick from Anna.
Yeah, someone who was actually handed the captaincy when it was taken off you, Jackson.
I knew you were going to bring that up. That was one of those things. Me and the referee there, we fall out, but we generally get on pretty well. We've kissed and made up since then, so I look forward to maybe captaining with him again.
So change in the Doncaster ranks. Jack Rouse's afternoon, it seems, is done, and Connor Joyce is coming on in the back row, number 20. Into work in defence straight from the off.
Yeah, we're looking for this patience now. If we can form up this maul, obviously win it, good win. We want to try and get the corner of it. So the same penalty there that Doncaster gave away real early in the game, and it's just disappointing because it's one of those things that's the easier thing to do, and it's harder to do it right. So it's a shame there. It's not something we train, not something we try and do. So I'm sure the boys will be disappointed. And look forward to the next opportunity.
Yeah, big cheers from the Doncaster pack on the far side when Andrew Jackson raised his hand on that one. But still, the siege continues from Saracens. Little light wind on their backs as Michael Rhodes trudges off. So Michael Rhodes,
yeah, we've got KP on for those you know, Wolfie will slip up to the second row, to the back row. Yeah, he'll be played there a lot. Very, very good around the field. Good over the ball. So.
Gus Wall. But the kick is not going to make touch. Well, it's just going to make touch. Penalty was coming for Doncaster.
Yeah, seems a bit of a get out of jail free there, back-to-back penalties, getting us a bit of a piggyback up the field. But that's what we needed really. We seem to be struggling to get out of our own half. So a couple of cheap penalties will be greatly received.
Yeah, Doncaster won the ball well behind us there, formed the ball well. You know, when you win the ball behind in the line out, it's hard to defend. So you know, Doncaster did well, forced a penalty out of us, and they've worked their way up to the halfway.
It's the first time in the half that Doncaster are approaching that territory of the pitch, as we see Howard Packman looking on. Doncaster take it down in the form of John Kelly. And they look to get their big can of stones rolling towards Saracens' half. And Joel Kapoku is trying to disrupt, just about staying on the right side of Andrew Jackson, but now he has to leave. Very good set from Doncaster. Jerry Sexton carrying strongly. And that is Joyce. Back to McBride. A little behind the gain line are Doncaster, but Harry Strong just has to make good and secure the ball. Davis is hit very low by Christie, his opposite number. McBride onto Will Britton. Now this is Joe Jones. And that's hacked on by Vunipola, and after this is Duncan Taylor. James Kane is back for it, and Taylor has taken it out of his hands. And the man who signed a contract earlier this week to keep him at the club for 2 more years has the 3rd score of the night.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, well, classic Duncan, to be honest. Chasing down balls like that. You know, a lot of time they're lost causes, so he chases them anyway. But this one sat up horribly, probably for Doncaster fullback. Probably waiting for it to go over the try line. But little did you know, Duncan was flying onto him and managed to nip it from underneath him.
Yeah, just a bit of inaccuracies again in attack, costing us. See the loose pass, and then Sarries capitalise. We've spoken about how they feed off those loose balls, how they come to life when you make a sort of like a slight error ball on the floor. 50-50, and we've got to be a bit better there. As Jackson said, it's a pretty bit of a nightmare situation for James Kane to be stuck in heading back towards his own line. I think he was hoping it would perhaps roll all the way, and decided to sit up on the very last bounce, but a well taken try.
All came from you know, good defence in the midfield. Managed to come out the back pretty well, force the 10, you know, Doncaster 10 to make that pass probably too early than he wanted to. Give us the opportunity to get the ball on the floor, and then we really did make the most of it after Manu's, you know, hack through.
Vunipola was successful with the conversion, so 19 points to 3, Saracens lead. And for the first time, there is a bit of breathing space in this match for the hosts, as Tim Swinson claims from the kickoff. Vincent Koch hit hard. Tom Whiteley's curtain has come up for the evening. The excitement machine that is Tom Whiteley has entered the fray. He puts a high box right on James Kane, who claims that one far better. And wriggles free of Swinson's clutches. John Kelly starting to appear a little bit more in this second half. John Kelly and McBride spots a half gap, taking it to the line. Penalty coming.
Same penalty again, I think. Seems to be the theme of the game today.
Yeah, I think it's a referee favourite, maybe. I thought Baz was unlucky there. I thought he just did enough to get out of the way. I'm not sure if he pinged Baz there or Dunks, but yeah, a bit of a shame that, to be fair. But again, it's just about decision making around the breakdown. You know, don't give the referee those decisions that he wants to make.
Well, Timmy Shegan's best efforts to keep it in haven't worked. Thankfully so. It was coming back on Doncaster's side. That good chance this though for the Knights. A few changes being made for them. Mark Best and Sam Olver both coming on. Two players who started the last match against Ealing and with lots of experience that they bring to the fray. Mark Best having come in from Jersey over the summer. Sam Olver has been here a little bit longer. So the Knights go to Connor Joyce and Saracens get the early nudge on. Doncaster reform and regather, and now they release themselves and Gus Wall goes. Space opening up for the scrum half. Best is then taking that line straight into action. The replacement centre, and now to within 3 metres of Saracens' line. Joyce again. Got this position started from the line out. Joe Jones just rides the first, and Saracens a little high in body position. Inroads continue to be made. War looks to go to the left, and Saracens this time lining up.
Yeah, great D there. I think, I'm not sure what the penalty's for, but it might have been offside. But you know, that was a great set of D there on the short side. The big lad was almost over, but we managed to get numbers into the contact. You know, this one here, you can see Wolfie commits to that ball, frees up a bit of space for the line to go. But you know, when they get to this position, it is definitely difficult to keep out. So we did well to force them down the short side, put them into touch. But as I say, penalties coming.
Yeah, good work by Gus there around the fringes, keeping them honest. Perhaps a little bit more patient needed that close to the line, but I think the boys knew we had a penalty advantage coming, so it's pretty key for us, I think, to get the next score in this game if we're going to stay in touch.
There's 2 tries in almost as many minutes, which got Doncaster back into their match against Ealing, and that was one where they turned around. It's 30 points or so to 7. Felt like at times they might have been able to get back into it in terms of the actual contest. It didn't pan out like that. They are a side who can turn things around quickly. And claimed that time by Jerry Sexton. The red shirts go backwards, but Saracens having to be turned there. That's superb defence from Saracens. Yeah, escaping the clutches.
As you say, it's a fantastic move defence there from the guys.
Gus War and Joyce. Jack Davies poised to go again. Wollstonecroft is throwing his body in the way. Capelli Pifoletti. So hard to run over in those contests, but Doncaster keep ball. Taking their time, but making sure there are enough bodies to support them when Saracens' jackals slap their chains on. And there's Hislop, his turn. Haven't seen as much of him in this second half. Colin Hislop. At the moment just going sideways. Saracens calm in defence. Tom Whiteley organising his charges from the try line. Body position so low as Jack Davis is taken down. They've gone through the phases before though, Doncaster, in this match. They've tested Saracens in that regard. Conrad Cade is lending his support. And that time they do make a mini breakthrough, a few more yards closer to the line. Richard Barrington doing everything he can. Connor Joyce doing some sterling work, the replacement in this set of phases. Kelly is there, Cade is there, and Wollstonecroft is having to throw himself in the way. Now Gus Watt wants it up to the backs, and this way Olver goes over. It's charged down. Yellow card given. So Vincent Cock is the man who has been shown the yellow card for offside. I guess that's the benefit of going through so many phases, because eventually someone might make a mistake or someone gets frustrated and the referee's patience ends.
Yeah, just reward for looking after the ball, I think. It's quite easy to pull the trigger a bit too early in those situations, but it's a case of having to keep it tight. We need to narrow up the D before we do try to spread the ball, otherwise that's when we get caught behind the gain line and risk conceding a turnover. So although at times it might look like it's going sideways or perhaps not even forward at all, but it's important to look after the ball, to try and narrow up the defence and then pull the trigger when the time's right to go.
I'm not sure if we missed something cynical there from Vinny, but maybe a bit harsh. It's only the second penalty in the 22, so again, might have missed something though, but you know, disappointing to give away that penalty so far into a set. I think we defended pretty well up to that point. Now we've got Josh coming on, you know, looking forward to him to make an impact fresh, straight into a scrum.
One of the great stories of the weekend really is Josh Iboinokpe. It was last night, as we just see through these phases, that final attempt to go wide. Duncan Taylor was all over Sam Olver. But Josh Iboinokpe, the new man on for Saracens in the front row, he was wearing his chef's hat and apron last night as he's been pushing his new business venture, the Wingtings.
Yeah, he's started it last year, I think. Got the boys involved, testing them out. Yeah, got a great little setup there. He's starting to try and push it on a little bit more now, so great to see.
I saw a photo of some of his produce that was produced last night. I think lots of the Saracens boys were keen clients of his, and I think one of the academy boys was actually his delivery runner as well, so a real family affair for Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these boys have been gutted because it's not the best pre-match meal, but I'm sure the guys who aren't playing got stuck in.
Yeah, well, the photos of those that did does look delicious. So back to one of the jobs, the day job for Josh Iboinokpe, and defending his line here as Doncaster look to work their first score of the match. It's a good nudge on. The creep begins, and it's going to be a penalty try at the first attempt. Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, first scrum penalty that the new front row is given, and he's given a penalty try. So, not sure about that, but yeah,
seemed about right to me.
I don't think that's going to be a worry.
So, Jackson, talk us through this if you can.
Yeah, obviously they keep the pressure on. Pretty stable for a long time, and managed to get around the outside, obviously through Bomber. But again, I'm not sure. Usually you get a bit more of a chance than that. But the boys will be disappointed. But I'm just looking forward to see this kick-off.
Yeah, perfect outcome for us there. Can't really give too much of a tactical insight into what happened at the scrum, but it looked like the boys went straight through them and got their awards. So yeah, as I said, it's pretty key for us getting that next score in the game, and now only a 9-point margin with the best part of 20 minutes to play.
Yeah, 14 men as well for Saracens for the next 8 minutes. A bit of treatment being seen to for one of the Doncaster players. Will Britton is back and up and at him. It's a very good game. Will Britton. Man made his permanent switch after being dual registered with Bath last season. Doncaster, from their first real entry into the 22 in the half, have 7 points from it.
Yeah, important to back it up with a good exit here. We know there's going to be some kick pressure coming. As you can see, made an absolute mess out of our ball there. Hopefully we can tidy it up and get out of our own 22 here.
Yeah, you can sort of see how many numbers that forced Doncaster to bring in. You know, that's something we're looking to do. You know, pressure that breakdown, make them uncomfortable. You know, and then hopefully force a poor kick.
You carry this back, yeah?
Gus Wall. And Obertoyimbo claims. And strikes through the first and struggles out of the second, but the ball ripped out. Carried on. Ironi Mawi, the Fijian international, is on. Salvage that play. Capelli Pifoletti on from Kapoku. The Saracens throwing some big pieces at Doncaster's line. Whiteley. Vunipola just lofts it over. Duncan Taylor takes it down. And ribcage just was opened up there for a moment, but Taylor knew where he was. Jerry Sexton with a tackle for Doncaster. Vunipola, now Pifoletti, and he breaks through into the 22. Tackle was from Sam Olver at fullback, and Whiteley this time weaving and just unable to work it to a teammate.
Yeah, obviously some good play there, some good carries, a bit of variation around what we're doing as well, which is always nice. You know, and then you see big KP, you know, coming on a lovely line there with Manu. Always runs hard, KP. Good option not to pass the ball. You know, Doncaster were tracking back well. Unfortunately, just made a little error at the end when it looked like it was on a plate. But you know, good field position. Hopefully, we'll back it up with a good set piece.
Charlie, what about the tackle from little Sam Olver at fullback against Capelli Pifoletti? 110 kgs, maybe more. He was brave there.
Yeah, he's not the biggest lad, Sam, but he certainly throws his weight about. Any tackles he ever does miss, it's not through lack of effort, and he got his rewards there. He forced the extra pass, forced him to go the extra phase, despite a pretty disappointing line break. But I think just going back, you can see the threat that's getting posed if we're kicking long and on, straight down fullbacks throat and giving them space to come back at us. There's been a few warning shots in the first half. I think you can see again that whole attack was built on some great momentum built from a kick return.
Well, Sam's dad, John Olver, former England hooker, of course. I'm sure he'll be proud of that tackle. Elliot Obertoyimbo, though, Jackson, we're seeing a little bit more of him this match. He's the kind of player who you just know is able and capable of breaking through a defensive line and tearing up, but it hasn't quite happened.
Yeah, I think, you know, Elliot's he's learning every week. We've no doubt his pace and his footwork, but you can see his feel for fullback is coming along all the time. There, you know, attacked the defence, made them sit down, and then obviously managed to get some space. So, you know, we know that's in him, and now it's about sort of continuing to do all the other stuff around it and get more opportunities like that.
It's been a consistent pick by Mark McCall across the course of the Trailfinders Challenge Cup and in their pre-season match against Leicester as well, and then at the back end of last season got a lot of runs and Raymond fullback as well. He's on a fast track here at Saracens, and they do that rather well.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, no, he's got a big future ahead of him. Looking forward to seeing him develop this year alongside some of the other great young guys in the team. Right now, obviously, we've got a big opportunity for the front row to put down a marker after what happened in the last scrum. See if we can put them under pressure.
The Knights holding, just getting a few centimetres before things break up. Tom Whiteley taking down Jack Davies. Gus Waugh wanting forwards to help him get the box away.
Yeah, great pressure there from Callum. Obviously they just about got a corner on us in the got on the corner on the scrum. Managed to get him out, but you know, great work from Callum there. Put pressure on the 9. to give us another good opportunity in the 22.
Yeah, a lot of heat coming at the breakdown there, which has been a bit of a theme for the second half. We've struggled to get out of our half with our exits, almost relying a bit too heavily on gaining some penalties. So that's something we're going to want to have to clear up if we're going to get back into this game.
Capelli Pifoletti finds Hunter Hill, and the black shirts morph together. Doncaster doing very well to disrupt. That has missed out all the forward options. Duncan Taylor has looped it over to Vunipola, and Obotoyimbo may have a way through if he can duck and weave. Makes a few yards. Wollstonecroft. Saracens with 14 men, of course, playing expansively, and down the left-hand side goes Ollie Stonham. Whiteley scragged, taken down by Cade. So versatile, Conrad Cade. Hunter Hill there, levelled in the tackle. Iguanokpe unable to make his weight felt. Tim Swinson. It's a little untidy from Sarries.
It's a good, good continuity really in terms of what we're trying to do. See a loose pass, but the boys have got on the outside to try and recover that, get us in a position to put the pressure back on. A good ball down the side there, good hands from KP, gives a little opportunity on the outside, and then we're just trying to keep chopping into them. Good to see that we've chosen to go to the corner, look to try and get this move well. I'd like to see us to be a bit more patient in this ball. I feel like we probably tried to go a bit too early, a little bit too keen, which has made it a bit easier to defend. Let's see if we can stick in there a bit longer and start edging it slower.
Swinson from Pifoletti. The Saracens super freighter sets off. Good numbers, good body positions from Sarries. Doncaster splintering, and Saracens up to the line. Whiteley lets the forwards have another go. So close, and they get there. Fourth try, and with it, you sense that's the contest.
Yeah, I think that's obviously a little bit more we're going to see. Much more patient in our setup. Wasn't perfect, but we managed to get good numbers around the ball, good bit of length to the ball, and we start to edge it forward. And we probably should have scored from the maul, but didn't quite get there. Obviously for them, just good work around in the tight to get weight around the game and get us over the line. So you can just see here we're edging down the front. You can see there's good numbers around the front of it, trying to work around the inside of them. Almost there, you can sort of see just short. Eroni will be gutted, but then we get there on this little kick here.
Peeling away the bodies. Let's try and find out who got the touchdown here. The body positions were good, and Charlie, can you cast your eye over this from the Doncaster perspective?
Well, yeah, it's not really my area of expertise. I think it's a case of pressure tells. Enough sort of chances, enough shots thrown. Managed to pull it up just short. Again, just looking at body heights as we go into goal line D. But quite an important kick here, which I think has just gone wide. So 14-point game, so 2 scores. So we're still in it, but we're going to have to strike pretty soon, I think, if we're going to turn this one around.
Yeah, from our point of view, I think we're looking for a strong exit here. Obviously, good outcome for us with 14. Now we're looking to get control from this kickoff. Try and get the ball back on them, but put them under pressure again. Good take there to start.
Yeah, Hunter Hill has been one of the standout performers for Saracens again today. Tom Whiteley with the box kick to Sam Olver. McBride now playing at fullback, starting the match at fly half. Reece Cullen is on at scrum half for Doncaster Knights, and that there is a sizable figure of Matt Challoner in his 11th consecutive season with Doncaster. He's on. Best has slipped through and then got the offload out the back. Lovely hands from Doncaster. Shegan had a chance to get his mitts on it. And that's back on Doncaster's side.
Yeah, it's a great option to have a go there. I think there was some space. Absolutely lovely offload from Basti. And again, just perhaps need to set it up here and then look to go again.
Packman trying to keep the play alive, but his legs were taken. Carry was from Jerry Sexton down this flank. Doncaster will get a penalty. And Cullen will go quickly on his opposite man, Whiteley, and he comes away from that exchange with credit. John Kelly carries it on. Challoner. The flying Hunter Hell unable to take him down, but Sarries will get their mitts on the ball.
Yeah, it's frustrating there. Obviously we had them in the breakdown before, high up the field, under pressure. Again, it comes back to that decision making. You know, that one there, Tim obviously good look at the ball, good body position, and managed to get the decision. But you know, ideally we keep them down here, we keep them under pressure, we don't let them out of an easy penalty. But you know, we managed to wrestle it back.
So KP, Capelli Pifoletti, takes his place for the line-out. Someone who is also a cousin of the Vunipolas, so Manu and KP. Both cousins of Billy and Mako. And they've both been performing very well this afternoon. Pifoletti up front, but Vunipola as well behind the scrum. He's shown some nice flourishes on his return to action. And he may get a run here if the decision is made that it's up to the backs. They've had success here though already.
Tackle, release 5,
Toby Knight.
You're a tackler.
Yeah, I mean obviously good move there, and the ref's called tackle. And you know obviously Doncaster has to let go there. Maybe didn't hear, maybe thought it was a maul still, so stayed on it. But you know, fortunately got the decision, and we have another opportunity.
Keep coming down, please. You made the tackle.
He's got a very level head.
On the
Vunipola. Actually, the player who Saracens had at number 10 when they went down to Gloucester, the first match after it was announced that Saracens had breached the salary cap, and he managed to come through that match, which was a febrile atmosphere, with credit.
One-man sack fine.
And Sarries again looking to go to work on Doncaster up front.
Let him clear. Tackle!
Hunter help.
Donny, get on side!
Waits for Wollstonecroft, and Swinson has Pifoletti behind him. And Tom Whiteley appealing to Andrew Jackson. And Andrew Jackson agreeing.
Rugby 4, he's fine. Offside.
Yeah, I think we're obviously a little bit keen there, maybe going without support, as we saw in the first try, and we were great with numbers around the ball. So you know, here we go again, looking to try and get better numbers around the ball, better weight in attack.
Pressure building for Sarries.
Come on, please.
Well, that could have been interesting, had that one let her run.
I think we're probably a bit fortunate there, to be honest. I think we need to be a bit more careful with the ball in the breakdown. Obviously, I know we want to get numbers around the ball, but we have to do it with control. We don't have to rush these things. We've seen we've done it right this game. We've scored 2 tries off it, so it's about playing smart.
Yeah, I think there's an element of desperation of it, trying to compete for every ball at the minute with the clock and the scoreboard against us. Yeah, another opportunity for Sarries here, so if we're going to have any chance to get back into this, we're going to have to keep him out, which doesn't look too promising.
And there we go, a 5th for Saracens, and it has come after hammer blow after hammer blow.
Yeah, KP, I mean, just fancied him. You can see there from the look on his face, he wanted the ball in his hands, he wanted to tap and go, hungry to get on the contact. And you see him here, he's very difficult to stop, very powerful, heavy, and yeah, he's as I say, he's very difficult to put down. So good to see him out there, good to see him running hard.
At this point, Jackson Ray, it would be excellent to know who you think your man of the match would be. after this performance? You have a bit of time to think about it, and there's a few options we'd like to hear, a short list, but if you could put your thinking cap on whilst Tom Whiteley lines up this kick. Striking the big red upright, so Tom Whiteley can't add to Saracens' score. But it is a 5-try performance now. Hunter Hill takes the ball down. He's been superb in that facet of the game this afternoon and evening. Whiteley goes to the skies. Olver again. McBride. It's an ever more energised reception party of Saracens waiting for Doncaster. They've just got better and better through this game. How about that for riding a double challenge? Superb from Gareth Denman. Cade round the back. Olver. McBride ducks well and then dodges, but unable to escape Pifoletti. Doncaster happy, as they have been all second half, to play from deep.
Quite unlucky there. I thought Toby was on his feet. I thought he won the heights. Yeah, I think we'll look back on that one. I think that was a good decision from Toby. I thought he was unlucky.
And have you made a decision, Jackson?
Yeah,
man of the match?
I think it's been obviously a game with quite a few opportunities really out and open. I think the Saracens forwards have been good today. I think Tom Wilson-Crofts has been very good in the line out, great around the field, put some good big shots. Job Poku again, much more improved this week, big and physical all around the field. But I think Callum Hunter-Hill has been a big standout for me. I think he's run the line out very well, been very dominant in there, won some great ball, charged a few people down, some big hits, some good carries. So yeah, I'm pleased to see him go well.
So Callum Hunter-Hill, man of the match, as selected by Jackson Ray, but Doncaster right on the attack, although that breaking down, and Shegan is now in the chase. Olver is looking back, looking behind him. Duncan Taylor was lurking for a second, and Shegan looking to steal it on the floor. Doncaster have somehow come back with that on their side. That was desperate defence. And Reece Cullen so close to his line, waiting for the Knights to reset, and as they have been all game looking to play, it has been a match which they've treated in many ways as a pre-season fixture to give everyone as much time on the ball as they can. And Billy McBride shunted out in the end. Saracens have asserted their dominance at the StoneX Stadium after 2 losses to Ealing Trailfinders. They are back to winning ways against Doncaster Knights, 29 points to 10. And Jackson Ray.
Yeah, very pleased. As I said before the game, it's more about the mentality we show, the energy we show, and what we're doing. And I thought for the most part that game was very, very good. Obviously, there's a lot of things to work on. A lot of people playing their first games, their second games of the season. So, in that sense, it's obviously a big stepping stone for us. But no doubt that the improvement we've shown on last week is brilliant, and that will just set us up now. We've seen what it's like when we haven't got it right in the previous weeks. This week's been a lot more close to what we want to be, and it's great to see. Obviously, give these guys a lot of confidence now to kick on and improve next week in training. The next 2 games we've got coming up to put ourselves in a great position come the start of the season.
Well, Charlie, it means Doncaster can't now win the Trailfinders Challenge Cup, but may well be able to take second place off Saracens with the match against Ealing Trailfinders next week. But from the perspective of the purposes of this one, it being a pre-season game and there being 11 new faces who hadn't been at the side this time last year playing today, how would you reflect on that?
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one. I think we'll be disappointed with how the second half went. I think Saracens' power game probably showed in the end, which may be a reflection of, like you say, it's, for a lot of these guys it's their first start for the best part of a year. For any team, let alone coming to a new side. I think 12 or 13 of the starters today, like you say, hadn't played in a Doncaster shirt before. So we've got plenty to work on, and we've got another game next weekend down at Ealing, which we know will be equally tough. But yeah, we're starting to build. I think we're starting to build nicely. Just need to tweak a few little things, take a few more chances, slight more execution when we get ourselves into the right areas, and then we'll be ready to fire on the 6th of March when the real comp starts.
Now, of course, that is what it is all about now, with the Championship season being confirmed, and it's very exciting to be having that on the horizon. Let's have a look back at the tries and the highlights from this match right from the top. And gents, again, just let us know the benefit of what you saw that was good in all of them.
Yeah, obviously we saw this one before. Came from good pressure at the set piece, and an advantage when Manu saw the space from the outside and put it on a nice plate for Rotti to get us underway.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nightmare position to defend from, but we might look at perhaps being a little bit too narrow. But I don't think there's too much we can do that. We say if they're prepared to throw the miracle ball over the top, then fair play to them.
Yeah, and here obviously we've worked hard to get to this position. I can just see good numbers around the ball. You know, you've got Andy on the outside, Big Baz in behind, adding his weight, and it's very difficult to stop that. You can see Doncaster there, as good a positions as you can really get, but sometimes it's a weight game. You know, I mean, if you've got more kilograms coming your way, it's difficult to stop.
Yeah, just looking at the third Saracens try there, one will be a bit disappointed with. It kind of came from our own ball, where we were in relative control, I think, before that phase. Just perhaps forcing a pass that perhaps wasn't quite on, and then loose ball, like we say, Sarri's come to life, hack through, and whilst it's a nightmare for James Kane to try to deal with that, it's a pretty good finish in the end.
I think it's on that as well. Andy Christie did really well in the line. He came through real fast out the back, put pressure on 10, made the force the error and gave the opportunity. And obviously a set piece here. We'll be disappointed with this. You know, we'll have a look at that in the week, see what didn't quite go right, but I think, as you can see there, we didn't quite get our weight right. Under a bit of pressure, makes an easy decision for the referee, although it was a fairly premature decision, I will say.
Well, I think Bom and his mates will dine out on that one for a while.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be buzzing, but you know, obviously around this one here, you can see what good numbers around the ball again. A little bit short, but you know, look at the bodies around the ball. You know, you've got some big men using their weight together. Difficult to stop from that far out. And I think you just saw when you did it well, and like in this try, and when it wasn't quite done so well, the difference in the outcome. You know, it's a patience game, it's a weight game. You just got to be really sensible in these areas. Otherwise, you just won't make the most of the opportunities. But promising to see we're going in the right direction. Yeah, this one here, you just fancy to go. I mean, it's a bit like schools. I haven't seen many of them since schoolboy rugby. The tap and go from the big guy. But you know, KP was always hungry for a carry. And he's big and strong, powerful, and very difficult to stop.
Yeah, I don't envy anyone having to try to stop him from there. Perhaps a good summary of the half there, though. Just Sarri's power game probably just coming through in the end.
Well, that is what got us to this scoreline, 29 points to 10 in Saracens' favour. And do stay with us, because we're going to have a short break for adverts, and then we're going to be back to try and bring some of the reaction from coaches and players pitch side. So do stay with us, and we roll out some of the adverts that take us to another place, hopefully a warmer place as well. So see you shortly.
Timing is everything. It's taking the opportunity. It's executing the right trade. It's relying on our award-winning platform. It's trusting our 37-year heritage. Timing is everything. It's your advantage. Spread betting and CFD trading on over 12,000 global markets. City Index, your advantage.
A really good sleep doesn't just happen overnight. It takes 40 years of expertise. It takes 7 layers of body-supporting technology and up to 5,000 patented titanium aerocoil springs that move air freely around you for a cool, deep, sound sleep.
Yeah, I got the money in the bank like it's on the begin again like on the bomb on the buck of a lot. It's on the get them on man. Take down the one when the boom man. Tap down but don't bomb with the boom black.
So I think my favourite comeback was the Loughborough game, I'd say.
I think mine was Quinn's.
Why?
Mine was because of what the game meant.
The first try that we got that catalyst.
I don't think at any point I was properly worrying, thinking, oh God, we're going to lose this, which is ridiculous when you're 20 points down.
What about Alex's speech at half-time?
The silence in that room after he stopped, that was insane.
What about your favourite social?
There's only one to talk about, yeah. It's the final.
Yeah. What one?
Yeah, which final?
Oh, I wasn't at the first one.
Oh.
one of those moments you were both at.
Did we break the trophy again?
Many times.
Yeah.
Don't think so.
Find your escape. Find your surprise. Find your adventure. Find your exotic.
Find your freedom.
Find your wild side. Find yourself.
Trust Trailfinders, guaranteeing your travel since 1970.
It does cheer you up, that advert, when you are pitchside in the cold. We can tell you that. We have a reaction to come. Firstly, though, we're just going to stick with Charlie and Jackson. Not that that is in any way not what we're after, guys. Thanks for making it down here. And Jackson, the key take-homes for Saracens from this one, what would they be?
I think from what we've seen the last few weeks, the element of control that we showed today was much improved. It allowed us to put a bit more pressure on the opposition, make them do things they don't really want to do, and then come alive on the back of it. A bit of accuracy to look at, again a bit more in set piece, very much improved set piece, to be honest. Some really good things in there, but definitely some things to look at. So yeah, I think all round it was a step in the right direction. You know, a lot more to focus on for the next 2 weeks, but much more improved, and it was good to see.
And Charlie, from that Doncaster perspective, the anticipation that it would still be a bit of a pre-season approach from the club, I guess that played out, and that second half particularly. Just explain why you think Doncaster were happy to play from depth. They were a bit more keen to play in the opposition half in the first half, so a change there. And why was that?
I think we want to play with the ball in hand. We're a team that want to attack. We picked a back line that had a lot of good runners in it that could really express themselves with ball in hand. Still being pragmatic, exiting when we needed to. I think you can see the dangers of kicking when you're under pressure and not kicking on your own terms, kicking loosely, perhaps a compromised kick chase. But you know, there's a lot of guys out there who are getting their first game for Doncaster, first game for the best part of a year. So whilst there's plenty to work on, we're moving in the right direction, I think.
You were particularly pleased with the scrum. So that side of things, holding up against that front row, formidable front row, including Vincent Cock, Tom Wollstonecroft as well. So that must have been something that the club will be really pleased with.
Yeah, brilliant. I think over the years, Donny has been built on a really strong set piece and a really strong pack. And to compete in the Championship, you need that. There's no going away from that. A lot of the places you go are tough places to travel to, and you need that foundation up front. So I think all credit to the boys up there. I think as a backline, we will probably want to look at the chances that we had to play off the back of them, where we probably didn't make the most of the foundation we were given. But yeah, big raps to the lads up front.
From a centre perspective, the new centre pairing there, how do you think they went, Harry Strong and James Newey?
Yeah, good. I think they're both very exciting players. Both, as I've said before, good with ball in hand. Perhaps limited opportunities in phase play to really get them involved. But I thought they defended pretty solidly. Sort of ticked off all the basics that they needed to. And going forward, they'll probably look to have a bit more chance to play with the ball in hand.
Well, one of the key cornerstones of that foundation up front was Bomber Hislop, and we're delighted to be able to speak to him as well. So, Bomber, thanks very much for joining us. Hard lines in the end, but what would be the reflection of the 80 minutes, and your first 80 minutes for a while as well?
Yeah, no, it's a bit frustrated really. You know, we did some really good things in the game, but we probably lacked a little bit of game management, and that's something that Saracens are very strong at, and they squeezed us a little bit, especially that first 10 minutes in the second half. So plenty to work on, but really proud of the lads, because like a lot of boys like myself, that's our first hit out.
Up front was quite a battle, and Doncaster really held their own there in the scrum, getting that penalty try as well. As part of the front row union, how pleasing was that for you? No, extremely happy with that. It's something we work really hard on, and I know myself, having been down here, Saracens have got a quality set piece and a quality pack, so really enjoyed going toe to toe with those boys. Well, I should apologise, Robin, because at some point in the commentary I called you Colin Hopkins. I know that. Of course, Robin Hopkins' real name, Bomber, and just tell us a little bit about that first half, because I think that's why you were everywhere in the first half, and sort of the second half, things slightly, was there a change in tact at all to be a little bit more different approach-wise in the second half?
I think we had a little bit of win first half, and we're really excited to get into them, and like just going back to that game management, I thought Saracens managed the field and their game management. That second half was really good, and they managed to squeeze us a little bit, so that's something for us to look at and work on.
And next week against Ealing, must be looking forward to that as well, to try and finish on a high in the Trailfinders Challenge Cup.
Yeah, no, definitely. Most of the boys have had a hit out now, so no excuses really, and yeah, we'll look forward to that. I mean, Ealing are a quality side, as you can see from their results, so it'll be another really tough challenge, but one I'm really looking forward to. Well,
Bomber, thanks very much for your time, and hope you have a good bus journey home and a good week ahead of Ealing next.
Absolutely.
Next
Cheers, Bob.
Thanks. So as I guess we expected, Charlie, but good to hear from Bomber. And do you know? Should have asked him then. Really, do you know about his nickname? What's the origins of that?
I think it originally comes from his dad, which has been passed down. I'm not too sure what it actually means. But yeah, Bom's great. He's a great lad around the club. He's a leader. He's a guy that everyone sort of respects and looks up to, and you can see his performance on the field today why.
That's good. A nickname's a true nickname if it gets passed down, I think, through generations. That's a sticker, isn't it? So, Jackson, in terms of Saracens now, there isn't a match next week for you. That the Trailfinders Challenge Cup will end there. Coventry, of course, though, home and away, and then the Championship. So, what would you expect the improvements to be made, say, week on week and building up to March the 6th?
I think we'll just, obviously, a few more guys coming in, hopefully play next week, and you got Juan Cecino coming in, Alex Lewington coming in, hopefully. So yeah, we're going to come into the group, hopefully add to the group. Another big week next week's training to look at things and the reason why things went well today. A couple of areas which didn't quite go so well. So I think it's just hopefully we'll see that our understanding of what we expect grows week on week through our training and through play. You only really learn playing games mainly, so it's good to get out there today and see it in action and have a feel for what it's like when it's good. So I think it's just going to be building on that, reviewing that, seeing what went well, and looking to impose it again next week. And again the week after, and just build until the 30th of March. I think 30th of March.
6th of March.
30th of March. 30th of March is probably our bye week. I think I've got it mixed up.
Oh, you'll be back next week as well, we think.
Yes, right? Hopefully, yep. Back next week, which I'm really looking forward to. I haven't played since I think October, so no doubt. Hopefully the air's a bit warmer next week, because I'm sure I'll be blowing a little bit. But no, I'm looking forward to getting out there. Patches of that tonight was very exciting to see. Desperate to be a part of it again.
Well, we now can speak to a Saracens player quite shortly. Coming up, we're just working on the technological side of him. We'll be going to him very shortly, and we'll get some reaction from the players involved. And Duncan Taylor, thanks for joining us, Duncan. Good performance from the team in the end. A good performance for yourself on the score sheet, and of course that new contract to celebrate too. A good afternoon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say a good performance for myself personally, to be honest. I couldn't catch a cold out there for a few minutes, but yeah, mate, it was a good team performance. You know, it was important to bounce back from the last couple of weeks and just get a good feel about us. You know, that's what we've been chasing, just to get that energy high and to be physical with sides. And I think today we showed that. You know, things weren't perfect out there. We made a lot of mistakes, myself included, and we gave away a lot of penalties. And again, those are things that can be worked on. But yeah, our energy and our enthusiasm around the field was great, and it was far more enjoyable being out there today than it was the last couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, actually, Duncan. I didn't want to mention it myself. Jackson Ray probably mentioned it in commentary, actually, alongside me. No, but it was great to see you get on the score sheet as well to celebrate, yeah, a new time at Saracens. In terms of the backline, though, we're so used to Saracens looking incredibly smart and precise in all those regards, and it's just not quite clicking at the moment. And I guess that happens with new faces in the side and not having played in a while. But what have you got to do to get that backline whirring again?
Yeah, well, firstly, we just have to be a bit more clinical. You know, like I said earlier, I was at fault a few times today as far as getting a bit of momentum is concerned. You know, making errors in first phase doesn't make life easy for ourselves. And if you want to get those outside backs involved, then we need to make sure we're getting those parts of our game right. And unfortunately, you know, those last few weeks we've been making too many silly mistakes and haven't really been able to get those guys involved. But you see when they do get the ball in their hands how dangerous these lads are, you know, with Rotti and Elliot out there. Those guys are real threats, and Ali Crosdale as well, who unfortunately picked up a little niggle there. But yeah, those guys are super exciting, you know, and like I said, we just need to be more clinical first phase stuff just to try and get these guys involved a little bit more.
Well, Duncan, it's a cold night, so we'll let you go. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a very good evening. Thanks.
Thanks very much, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thoughts of Duncan Taylor there, and gents alongside me. I know you weren't able to hear Duncan, but he was pointing to the fact that little frustrations he felt he himself didn't have a great performance, dropping a few balls and things like that. But in terms of the energy, he picked up on that being particularly positive.
Yeah, I think that was something we were looking for before the game. And obviously Duncan there, he said he had a great game, but I thought it was a case of just trying to be a bit too ahead of the play, maybe playing things a bit too early. A couple of offloads didn't quite go to hand, but you know, in general, we got into some good areas to force some opportunities, and sometimes it doesn't come off, but it's about creating them opportunities and the reasons why we got them. I think that's probably the big thing we'll take from it. The energy was great, you could hear that. Some of the defensive sets were brilliant, and again, the celebrations that came around it, that's a bit more what we want to see. So yeah, as I say, it's about building on that this week. You know, taking it apart. You know, why was it good? You know, what about it made it good? And then we can really get hold of that to build on.
And there's those socially distant celebrations that you'll have to get used to first time.
Well, yeah, I was watching. I can't actually remember them, but I didn't look too close, fortunately. But yeah, it's definitely something which is going to have to be looked at and worked on, because you know, I do like a celebration, so I have to stay away.
Well, we look forward to seeing it. So just a reminder of what's coming up next week, and we have the final round of the Trailfinders Challenge Cup. Ealing Trailfinders against Doncaster Knights at Vallis Way. Kick-offs at 3 p.m, so coverage from 2:30, and that will round off the competition. It will be Ealing Trailfinders who take the cup home, and potentially Doncaster can take second position, so we will see. But much more important for both sides as they build up towards the championship will be how they fare in that regard. From us here, that's really the end of our coverage. It's been great to have you along for the ride, and to see Saracens get their season up and running with this 29-10 victory. My thanks go to Charlie and to Jackson, who've been alongside me all day. It's been a long day, gents. Thank you very much for it, and we can now go get a little bit warmer.
No problem.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us down.
And for yourself as well, we look forward to hopefully seeing you next weekend for the Trailfinders Challenge Cup and that final match, Doncaster against Ealing. Until then, have a very good week.
Whiteley dabs it onto the toe and goes round the outside. Tom Whiteley, brilliant! Janko Venter goes right through the middle. 3 options either side, but it's Don Morris